Hi!
Oh,
Hello,
hello,
everyone! So good
everybody.
to see you. And
We have
Daisy, you're
Audra
definitely
and
not going to miss
Lawyer
the
in the
first
house.
hour and 15 minutes.
Annie, I'm impressed with your multitasking, listening, lurking, and reading a book. Okay.
Hi, Becky. How are you? Mo,
Hello,
Annie.
everybody. Toya, out of the box beauty.
Irene is here. Oh, Spike was the
Teresa,
business. So
neon
sorry.
cartoon, raccoon
Hold
beauty.
on.
Let's
I
see
got
who
you.
else.
Lean.
We have
Good boy.
Thorn in the house, and Sarah and Rachel Joy. And yes, there's
That's
already been
true.
lots of comments in the chat that I'm like, I would agree. I would agree with all of this.
Oh my God.
And hello to Bo.
He just heard you say his name and he just like turned his head.
And Audra over here with the matching eye outfit and backdrop.
To be fair, I was mostly just trying to play with my graphic liner until I get the rest of them from JD Glow. I had to keep playing with the blue and the purple. So I just kind of was trying to like put the blue inside the black, and so that went well. The makeup look is whatever, but I was just playing with the graphic liner.
But you're
all right,
still,
dude.
the makeup is whatever, but you're still managed to match. And I am over here basically barefaced, being a garbage person today. But that's
Whatever.
fine. It's my
Hey,
favorite
Hannah,
hoodie.
welcome.
Oh, welcome, Hannah.
Oh, sorry, we did it at the same time. You go.
Okay. Oh, welcome.
Ooh, a s'more. That sounds really good. Is it with dark chocolate? Like real good dark chocolate, not shitty chocolate? Son, your tail. Baby, your tail is a weapon.
A like fancy s'more, meaning a s'more but not made of shit, is so good. Like good quality marshmallow, good quality chocolate.
Yes. Baby, what you got? Okay.
Yes, we love a monochromatic queen. It's fun. You just got to practice. I think that's what's up with graphic liners.
Yeah, you just like once you start playing with them. I know. I'm always telling her that. I'm like, look at you and your like gorgeous skin.
You too, Miss Mommy New Face.
I am filming that
exactly. Oh. So we are gonna have our dear friend Fefy on the live tonight. She's just getting herself prepared. And the topic at hand is fictional. Well, I put fictional shit. Fictional stuff that annoys us.
Yeah.
Fictional shit in the thumbnail, stuff in the title. Hopefully demonetization is not a thing. Although it's a live stream, so it's always a thing. And so we're just kind of chilling out until Fefy gets here, but there's no rush. Y'all always have a million wonderful things to talk about, so we're just here starting out the night. And I just want to make sure. Okay, that went through. Sorry.
Oh, tree birds. No.
Also welcome Mary.
Welcome
new
Mary.
People. Oh, if anyone is watching on the replay, generally speaking, once YouTube processes the video, there's a live chat that happens and something you can open up. If you're watching it soon after the replay, the live chat is oftentimes not there because YouTube is doing its thing. But if it is there, we always recommend opening it up and reading while you watch, because we do highlight a lot of comments, but not everything gets shown.
Yeah. And then also, if you super chat, that's totally fine. The main thing is, if you should super chat, we try to acknowledge them when we see them. But sometimes we're deep in conversation, so we'll hopefully hit them up at some point. For those people who don't enjoy that and don't like YouTube getting their 30% cut, you can use all the various forms of payment that I believe are in the description.
Yes.
Quick note that doing any of those things does not mean that you are better than someone. I know that you guys don't think that, but it doesn't mean you're better than anybody. If you can't do that, that's fine. If you can do that, that's fine as well. But it doesn't mean like, oh, you super chatted, so you're like the special demon.
Yeah, no.
Why did I use demon? Witchy shit. Like, but
we appreciate you, but also there's so many people that are just here all the time watching, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, this person gave us $20. Fuck all of our wonderful, amazing regulars. Like,
exactly.
Sometimes it's the same. Sometimes it is a regular that also does that, but we appreciate it. But it's also not like a game of giving out gold stars or something.
Thank you, Mo.
Right.
This is that Nomad palette, y'all. I was fussing with it again, and I just went in with that one shade where it was like, this is the shade that is everything. I was right. It is everything.
or demons. Also, BDB coming in with the perfect timing, because we actually do have Fefy here in the, what is it called? I'm calling it the waiting room because that's all I know right now.
Yeah.
Shall we introduce? So Fefy is somebody that I found through the Half Cousins podcast, which is a live stream hosted by Lacey of Spooky Lips and Fat Hips and Georgia Harris, and she has followed along with the with that podcast, and then now this one, and I love everything Fefy has to say about a lot of things. And so finally I was like, give us an idea so we can invite you on to this live stream. So that's why she's here. Also, just lots of moisturizer, lots of essence-y, watery things layered with gel moisturizers and chemical exfoliators in the evening, and yes, and some genetics. The only good genetics my body got was my skin on my face.
Disagree.
Only on my face.
Disagree.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring on the Queen of Comedy, aka Fefy, onto the live chat. So everyone, be the amazing people you are, and let's welcome on Fefy.
Hi, Fefy.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I haven't gotten to see you like moving and being beautiful. I just normally see you stationary and beautiful. So it's like it's a different feel.
Yeah, I'm also really cold, so we can tell.
I love the description.
Different hemispheres. So yeah.
I know you've got your like winter gear on, and we're like, I'm over here like, I'm sweating in my romper.
Yeah, I was considering a scarf, like an extra blanket, some extra tea or something, but I put a heater and things are a little more toasty around here.
Nice. I'm very happy for you.
If you need to take a break at any point in time to grab a blanket or anything else, just let us know, and we can always distract the room.
Don't worry.
While you step away.
And a lot of people are like stunned by how beautiful you are, Fefy.
Oh, thank you. I can't read anyone in the chat because I would have to be leaning in constantly, and I can read it on my phone. The font is too tiny. So I'm glad you're going to be relaying other people.
Yes, that's exactly why I knew that you've said that before. So I just remembered that you said you have some difficulty with reading the smaller print. So whatever I can do to help, I'm going to help.
Yeah, the only thing I have, I have to read very clear are my notes because I made notes.
Oh shit, you were prepared. We are not prepared.
When I told you I had like a whole TED talk on the subject ready, I wasn't kidding. I have been in fandom since I was like 19, maybe younger, because I wasn't like telenovela fandom, like back in the day.
I love it.
I started to watch like more American series and stuff. So I have experienced complaining about people writing terrible stuff.
For real. Like I legitimately just watched something. Like I think I watched Mortal Instrument, City of Bones, and I read those books.
Ooh.
And I was just stunned by how they turned like Clary into just like this weak, sad little bitch when she wasn't like that in the book.
Don't even tell me those books have so much drama, so much tea surrounding them, like the writer and all the stuff. So it's like we could write like a dissertation on that alone. I don't remember anything. I don't remember a lot of that, but
yeah,
I had friends who were in that fandom, and weird thing happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked because I was like, I don't remember Clary being a weak ass, like blithering, like screaming, crying girl. In the book, she was like stronger. She had an inner core of strength. And then like in the movie, she was just like,
yeah, I remember a lot of people complaining about the adaptation.
Mm-hmm. It was terrible.
Book adaptations, unless the author is involved, are not that great. And
no,
even sometimes when the author is involved, because there's no saving the book.
Yeah. By the way, there's everybody talking about how prepared. Fefy's more prepared than I was my entire grad school year. Fefy is gold.
Yes.
Fefy came to proceed.
Here's the truth of the situation. I have ADHD. If I don't take notes, I will get lost in the forest of my own ideas and thoughts. So I have, and also it's really funny because some things I want to say specifically, so I wrote them how I would say them, how I would type them in the chat, or how I would say them in a conversation with my peeps from the message boards. Oh wow, who even does besides Discord? Who even does message board like legit from back in the day anymore?
Dude.
It is. That's why it's so good. I consider Discord a message board, which is I think why I love it, because it reminds me of
myself so much. Like we say here in Chile, my ID fell off. Like, oh, you need to pick up that on the floor. Like we say, your ID fell off. It's like you show your age.
Oh, I know that feeling. Also, speaking of, Anita says, I don't know who Fefy is, but I already love her. So if you don't know who Fefy is, her Instagram and her Twitter is linked below in the description box. So definitely go follow. I linked Fefy, I linked your makeup Instagram so people can see the gorgeous looks that she puts together because they are stunning.
I sometimes they give me a headache.
Same.
Because one night
you're not alone
so well, and the other one starts watering, and I'm like, "Are you going to blend or not?" It's the same shadow, the same shadow, but it brush everything.
Yeah, same.
Perform. Today I had that problem, and I forgot to take pictures. Well, if pictures,
this eye is friendly. This eye went to like Harvard, and this eye didn't even make it to community college. Like it just failed out. Like I don't know what happened. I'm like, oh, that's too bad.
The other day I was like, one eye was like working in the UN, and the other one hadn't even graduated elementary school. Like
I feel that to my core. I also tend to get like the watery, like raw outer corners where it's just like even the inner corner of the eye is like going to the club, picking up all the people. The outer corner is like nobody wants you. You don't even want yourself.
My other eye is the eye that no one ever invited to the slow skate, the slow dance. You know, they had like the slow dance, and it was like the slow skate came on. That eye, like this eye, does not get invited to that shit. This eye, however, has like 4 fucking people trying to invite it to the slow skate. It's like, will you come? And like this one's just over there sitting in the corner, sad and crying. Like nobody wants me to slow skate.
Making it about the subject. One eye is the most popular girl in school, and the other one is the character who gets bullied all the time.
Yeah, but isn't it funny that like you look at like go ahead,
complaining that she that she wears men's shoes or whatever. I don't remember.
It is always like
I wear men's sneakers or what. I don't remember.
Like she's all that, where it's like nobody likes her because she has glasses and a ponytail, and you're like, but she's still stunningly beautiful underneath there. I'm so confused.
She does this and this, and it's just like, speaking of fictional shit that annoys us, that does.
That annoys me to no end. The makeover is just the worst trope, because the woman underneath is always stunningly beautiful. Yeah, that doesn't happen to most of us.
About that first. That was my first point in the notes.
I love it.
The makeover scene, because I figured something out while writing the notes, and it's the makeover scene is annoying and it can be harmful in some ways, but there are levels of harm to me, because when it's a character who is ugly because she wears glasses and always wears her hair up, like, she takes her hair down and it always looks perfect. I don't know why doesn't she have a ponytail then, by the way?
There are no ponytail dents.
Anyway, and then she takes her glasses and she's beautiful, which is something that annoys me personally, because I think I look better with glasses. Mm-hmm. When I take pictures without my glasses, I feel naked. I feel weird. It's not me.
I've only gotten to a point of not feeling like that because I've been doing this YouTube thing for over a year, and like it's really hard to take good pictures with my glasses because of glare and all of that and blocking my eye look. But I don't feel like myself without my glasses on, like generally speaking.
Well, and Thorne, I agree with you. Thorne said, is it just me, or is the removing the glasses trope also a metaphor? I do find it to be a metaphor. Like, she was hiding behind the world, like away from everybody with her glasses on, and then she takes them off, and now she's interacting with the world because she doesn't have this barrier, and like because she'll fuss with them.
No, chat, she just couldn't see anyway.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like they just get her contacts.
Like, for example, I personally can't wear contacts because I'm albino and I have an eye condition that it's an involuntary eye movement. So one contact stays still and the other one, my eyes keep pushing it around. Mm-hmm. So it falls. And I can like get my contact stuck on my eye or something. It's dangerous for me. So I'm cool with glasses because I learned out that really early on. When I was in high school, I was not a huge fan of my glasses, but now that I'm an adult, it got better. So that's okay.
I think you're right with there being different levels of harm, because I feel like Thor was saying, the ugly character is always conventionally attractive and also happens to have traits stereotypically associated with being educated, something widely considered very unattractive. So it's like,
especially in women.
Yes. So the woman is smart. She's typically artistic in some way. She's like super smart, gonna go to Princeton or Harvard or one of those schools like in US movies. But she comes from some like poor ass family, because that's the other thing. She's always got to come from a poor family. She can't have any money. She's got to come from a family that's poor. Her dad and parents have to be like really embarrassing in some way or another. If she has a sibling, that sibling is annoying AF. Like her whole mythos is like, if she didn't have these circumstances, then she would just be the popular bitch. Like, really, like that's what it comes down to. If she had the money and like, she would be the popular bitch, but because she's smart and poor, then that makes her worthy of this makeover and also worthy of the jock's love. The king jock.
Yes.
King
jock.
The king jock, who is supposed to be a teenager, but it's played by a 27-year-old or something.
Correct. Gross.
And the teenager and the popular teenager and the ugly teenager are also played by adults who are developed. So that's another problem.
Yes, and if they do it on the male side of it, he is always brunette as well. Think Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah.
And Drive Me Crazy. Drive Me Crazy, I think is the name. That had Sabrina the Teenage Witch in it, Melissa Joan Hart, and the guy who was in that show where they were a bunch of fucking asshole actors that was on HBO for a while, you know?
Oh.
X something.
Yeah, I know, but I don't remember the name, but I know which show it is because...
Yeah.
or I don't know, a show on HBO where everyone's an asshole? Groundbreaking.
Yeah, but it was like he was an actor. It's like his name was Adrian something, and the show starts EX. Entourage. I knew there was an E.
Oh, Adrian Brody.
No.
Oh God, those people.
That's not his name.
No, it's not Adrian Brody. No, Adrian Grenier. Grenier is his last name.
I know his name started with a D, but I didn't remember.
Yeah. I just also wanted to say, Katie had a good point about the ugly duckling almost always loses weight or discovers her gorgeous figure because fat people.
She does.
Yeah, that's to me. Yeah. Like when I wrote it on my notes.
Go grab your notes.
I want to show you notes.
I love it.
That the most harmful level of harm to the makeover scene is the weight loss makeover. It's usually a super skinny person wearing a tracksuit.
Yeah.
And that's gross.
And even if they're not losing weight, like she said, they're discovering their gorgeous figures. So like we go back to She's All That. You see her in like overalls for no apparent, like because she's an artist, somehow she's just like wearing overalls everywhere. No one knows why. Like she just refuses to wear anything but overalls. And you're like, okay, girl. And then suddenly somebody's like, oh, let's like put you in a dress. And she's like, a dress? I'm so confused. You know what I mean? Like, and underneath it, they're like, oh my God, you're so slamming. Who knew? And it's just like, I think in that one, it's a bikini scene. She goes to the beach with them. And then that's when they all find out that she's good looking.
They're like, what's the dress? And I'm like, it's that thing that you wear when you don't want to wear pants.
Yeah.
You want to think about that's a dress.
I am.
So Kathleen asked the movie that had Freddie Prinze Jr. That was what you're talking about, right? With Rachel.
Yes. That is She's All
Garrett
That.
Or something. She's All That. Yeah. That was that movie.
Yeah. Because I found that like when I go back and watch a lot of these movies that I watched when I was younger, the amount of harm that I find in them is so high. Because I look at the stereotype that they had, you know, brunette, smart, poor, you know, her dad's weird and kooky, her brother's annoying, the popular kids are assholes. There's like a bet involved with her. Like she becomes property in this movie. And there's something very disgusting. Obviously, it is very disgusting how often women are bets in these makeover movies.
Yeah, that's like, you know, well, I was bullied for my entire, from kindergarten to the end of high school. And it's that thing when someone's like, oh, so and so likes you, and they laugh at you, but in a bigger scale. Yeah. So that annoys me. But there's another thing about all these movies being so problematic. We also, not to get all tinfoil hat here, but
Oh, dude.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
We have to consider who were the big movie producers, the big movie directors, the heads of the studios.
Mm-hmm.
Usually not people who treated women well. I mean, I remember you were talking the other day about Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah.
And I remember Gwyneth in her Oscar speech thanking Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
So like,
Forgot
and
about that.
guy was involved in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like him who haven't gotten caught. So we have
Well, and
to
also who's writing those
Yeah.
screenplays?
when we're
They're-
like, oh, these movies are so silly and they're so bad for feminism, we have to consider why. Which voices were
Yeah.
being allowed at those studio meetings, at those production companies, and which voices weren't. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what
And
ends up happening is it's written from a men's, like all of these movies are written from a men's perspective and a man's gaze. They're not written for women, because if they were written for women, that is not like, I mean, and honestly, like when you're young, you can look at that and be like, oh my gosh. But the older you get, and I feel like this happened in my 20s when I watched it again and I was just like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like the more that you see that was
Yeah.
never really written for you as a woman, it was written for you as a woman to be involved in the male gaze
yeah,
and how to do it.
it's like,
And
one moment the girl was unpopular and undesirable, and the next moment she was breasting boobily down the stairs. Even by a man, and you can't deny it.
I love that.
Yes, her identity is confirmed by her titties,
Yeah.
her ability to wear heels, and the jock wanting a piece of that shit. Like that's
And they are always good at wearing heels after the makeover. Like,
Yes, but heels take practice, especially if you've never worn them before. So it's like absolute trash.
well now, ladies,
I just
come on.
wanted-
No, they have one slip where they stumble, and then after that they're fine. Then they're just like marching around this bitch like they own it.
That's all it is. That's all it is. Just one little slip. I also just wanted to let you know, Fefy, that the chat was totally here for tinfoil hat, Fefy.
Yeah.
because I'm like, all these trash things that are in media right now, it's because of the man.
Yeah.
And not,
And
not
the
one
cis
man,
het men in
the
particular.
man.
Oh shit. I had to hit that one. She breasted boobily down the stairs.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is why, and I know a lot of people find it like I don't know, counterproductive or whatever. This is why I like romance novels so much more.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
Yeah.
Because women write them, and now women of all races, of all sexual orientations can write them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people self-publish, and you can find a lot of good stuff there that it's not, I don't know, intervened by the man.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's written, so if you read a romance novel as a woman who's written, like, and a woman wrote it, like most of us get a little hot under the collar because it's written in a form that is desirable to us. He is not taking over a lot of times, especially if it's heterosexual. The male does not just take over the sexual experience. There's not a lot of force involved. He's not pushing her up against walls. Like, this is the stuff that we're constantly inundated with by men, with the male aggressor. This is why we have the assault culture that we do. If you think about it, like somebody made a really good video on it. I'm gonna have to go find it, but really talking about in depth that kind of behavior, where like even Harrison Ford in virtually almost all of his movies back in the day, he was always like,
I remember that
pushing her, grabbing her.
The video you mentioned.
Yeah.
I watched it a while ago. Yeah.
And it's upsetting.
I mean, the pushing against the door and all that stuff does happen in some of them, but at least they're like self-aware. And if the guy does something wrong, he gets called out.
Yeah.
He apologizes, and more importantly than apologizing, he changes his behavior.
Well, and the other thing too is the pushing against the door is not non-consensual. It's in the heat of the moment when she is, they walk into a room and she shoved it against the door while they're already making out and having a good time. It's not when she's telling him like, I don't want to do this, and like, and he like shoves her and shuts her up.
Exactly.
Like they having a fight, but it's like, I don't like you, but I like you, but you're annoying, or something like that.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Like opposites attract. And then when it comes to the makeup side of it, the constant bullshit reality that everybody's just waking up looking like a fresh ass daisy, get the fuck out of here. I'm so tired of that trope. It makes me mad because I'm like, I wake up looking like a whole ass potato with dragon breath from hell. Please stop that, because it's making us feel insecure as women when you consistently see that. Like, I woke up like this. And we want to say all the time, like, oh, movies don't, get to it. And like, it does. It all seeps into your brain, whether you want it to or not. And you notice it most when you're sleeping over with your partner the first time.
In movies, it's not I woke up like this. It's like I woke up like this, but back in the day on Instagram when everyone was quoting Beyonce.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, I woke up like this, and it was like the best lighting, and they were wearing the cutest pajamas, and they had curly hair, and I was like,
no, like I just woke up.
I find it worse though, like the amount of men that are like, oh, I don't like women in makeup. I want somebody that looks like this, and then shows like Rihanna in perfect no makeup or Kylie Jenner in perfect no makeup. And I'm like, men, you need to understand what the fuck you're looking at before you sit here and be like, this is what I want in a woman, when it's like, that's not ever gonna happen when they wake up. That's not how that works. You're seeing like perfected makeup, and because you refuse to learn about it because it's a woman's hobby, so why should I care? You continually get yourself fooled and then angry that you're fooled when it's obviously makeup.
Yes, that's where that catfish mentality comes from. And some of it's just ridiculous that men will sit there and say that. Right quick, I'm going to just read this out for Fefy here. Xavier said, when women write and direct, we get fantastic results. The Wonder Woman movie is a great example. I'm so here for women telling their own stories. And I am too.
Same. And I think that's the power in romance novels. I know that was said some in the chat too. How many romance novels? It's women writing for women. Oh, Alex said this. Alex Alchemist. Romance novels are written by women for women. A friend of mine told me about a podcast where a woman spent a year writing her own romance novel and discovering her own sexual empowerment. That's badass.
Yeah, and I was the other day, and an incident happened on Twitter. Some annoying, ignorant person trying to dunk on or own, or whatever you want to call it, a romance novel writer, and she was this romance writer was talking about something to do with things that are happening in the States and legal stuff. And she mentioned something about the rule of law. Let me look at the screenshot because I took screenshots.
Yes. Oh my God, Toya, please. They consistently show but listen, I don't rap mine because I can't, if you've seen those TikToks where the rap just like goes on its own journey, that's what happens with mine. I sleep like a wild creature. Like, I don't know what happens. But they constantly do that.
And I can make it bigger. That's why I can read it.
No, go ahead.
Like this person, the annoying troll was like, rule of law, you're not a lawyer. Stop babbling about things you don't understand and stick to writing silly, brain-numbing romance novels that promote helplessness and dependency. And the author wrote, my views on the necessity of educating ordinary Americans about the rule of law were shaped by my time clerking for Sandra Day O'Connor, whose charity iCivics attempts to remedy these deficiencies. Her name,
Nice.
Her name is Courtney Milan, and she's amazing. She's my favorite romance author. Well, one of my favorite. And she last year was involved in some, well, not her because she didn't do anything, but something happened to her between her and the Romance Writers of America Association, because she is half Chinese, and she speaks about racism in romance novels because everyone can, well, because the thing about self-publishing is that a lot of people can, so there's a lot of Karens in there.
Yeah.
And two Karens were like, oh, she was mean to me. She told me I was racist. And the Romance Writers of America took the Karen's side.
Of course they did.
And here's the thing. Everyone loves Courtney. So everyone this shit is not going to fly. So
it's like just to even be able to see romance between, like, interracial romance, for instance, is written beautifully well, and quite often is not focused on the fact that they're black and white. It's with black and white characters. They're written by the ones that I have read, written by Black women talking about those romances. And they're written in a way that Black women would want to be treated as a woman, not as like, I'm Black first and woman second. It's, I'm a woman who happens to be Black. And then they have this relationship, and it's beautiful. And I feel very strongly that if those characters weren't written, because one of my least favorite movies is Obsession with Beyonce.
Oh my God.
Because the trope in there is very, very heavy-handed and obvious that first of all, I feel like this is written by men, that the screenplay was written by men. I'm going to have to go and check.
Yeah.
Because it was very much that, like, the fear that Black women have is of, what is it? White women.
You guys know that I'm the pastiest, most ghost-looking member of the Beehive. I love Beyonce, but I couldn't do it. I was like, no, oh no, why are you doing this? I know you have money. Why did you have to do this?
Yeah. I mean, it bothered me because I sat there and I go, my biggest fear is not a white woman, because like the whole thing was very much this insane white woman coming to take a Black man. And even if that was like the point of the movie, the writing was so heavy handed, and how Ali Larter's character was just like fucking insane very quickly, which made no sense why her man wouldn't even just tell her, like, this bitch is crazy from the jump, and why he would let it get so far. Like, everything that happened in that movie made no sense, because Ali Larter's character as the, like, white devil didn't even make sense. Like, she just went from 0 to 60 like this, and it didn't make sense that she went that far so fast. And for him to even get in any trouble, like, he would have had to have been indulging her, but it was just, he didn't even indulge her. And so the whole thing was just really gross to me. Like, I watched it, I think maybe a year or so ago, and I was just like, who wrote this hot garbage? And like, that's women's biggest fear.
Probably.
You want to hear the other garbage this person has written? It is a man. I looked it up. David Lowery. It looks like laugh, but with an O and then ERY, LOUGHERY. He wrote The Three Musketeers in 1993. He wrote Star Trek V, The Final Frontier in 1989. He wrote Tom and Huck. He wrote The Intruder in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other ones on the list is Obsessed from 2009. He wrote Dreamscape, The Stepfather, Passenger 57, Money Train. Like, Obsessed is like the only thing I see on the list that
it's
feels like it was
kind of like about that kind of stuff. There's another movie, but it's, I don't know. Audra, I know you sometimes encounter some gems of movies. So like terrible. There's this movie called Unforgettable.
Oh God.
With Katherine Heigl, and she's the obsessed ex-wife who's mad because her husband is now with a black woman or something like that.
I feel like I've seen that movie.
I remember seeing that, like the artwork for it. I don't think I
feel
watched
like I've
it,
seen
but I
that,
saw
and like,
Yeah,
doesn't like some crazy shit happen? Like she gets killed in the end, but like it's
I
a whole ass
it's
nightmare.
3 years old.
Yeah, I remember that because what sparked my idea to send you this idea for this live was that I binge watched Kenny JD's Bad Movies and a Beat playlist.
Oh yes.
And she talks about a lot of obsession type movies. The one with the teacher is disgusting. So I need brain bleach for that shit. Like seriously.
Should you even go back to Fatal Attraction, the original that started this, right? So if you look at it again, I mean, like if you look at this shit again, realistically, this like her insanity is essentially caused by him. He has an affair with her. Yes, he has an affair with her, and then no longer he wants to cast her out. Like, what did you think was going to happen in that regard? Is Fefy frozen?
No,
she's here.
Okay,
so
I'm making, it's my phone.
I was
Treebird
trying to see if my if I can harness the power to read it.
So Treebird said is obsessed, just get out, but make it romance, which I thought was pretty funny. I don't know if you've seen Get Out, Fefy.
Don't do Get Out like that.
Agree. I agree.
That's true. Get Out was masterfully written from start to finish. Masterfully executed. Wow, because there's so many movies that could be good, but they're not executed well.
Yeah,
and I have you know I'm bad with scary movies. I'm a chicken. Sometimes I even look like a chicken, like Chicken Little. And we have a visitor.
I know. First it was Tyrion, and now it's Veronica, of course.
Hi, Veronica. Anyway, I love Get Out, despite my chickenness, and I love it especially because it proves that a genre movie can be award worthy, and those people who are like, oh no, I don't watch this kind of movie. I only watch like good movies.
Sorry.
We're all good. Nothing happens.
Or like
just some clattering from the cats. I agree.
It's
about
like
that. Well, Audra,
romance novels because they read good books or whatever, and then there's something that shows them that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, and Audra, you always say that thrillers are just horror movies that have been marketed to win Oscars. Correct. And I think Get Out proved that, like, you can make a movie that is known as a horror movie and still win awards. So people need to give up that whole, like, oh, you can't give horror films awards.
Yeah, that thing that it always happens because since I'm in a million fandoms or reading about a whole bunch of fandoms, because I don't, with social media, I don't make specific accounts for stuff except for my makeup account.
Bye, Mo. Be safe.
Oh,
what
good
happened?
night, Mo. Mo's getting a migraine off to
Oh,
fight
sorry,
food.
Mo. Good
It's
night.
hot.
been a
Anybody who
rough day
suffers
for
from
a lot of
migraines
people.
at all, wherever it's hot, they're going to be having more problems because the humidity is up as well. Right quick,
I did
there was that
kindly
comment
toss
that
my
you
cat off the
highlighted.
table. The
That's
crazy
what Atelier
psycho.
said. This is a
Yes.
huge pet peeve of mine, that men in movies can act obsessed and stalkerish and abusive, and it's seen as romantic. And
Yeah.
literally every time a woman does it, she's crazy and psycho. And that's what I was saying about
And
Fatal Attraction, is when you go back and really look at that, he had an affair and he led this woman on. And she was, all she really wanted, like if you look at the movie, all she really wanted was for him to admit that he had used her, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it throughout the film. He wouldn't admit, ghost fucking dog, wouldn't admit, not my dog, it was other people's dog, that he'd used her. And most people who are used want to know, like, just tell me that you used me and that you didn't love me, so that I can go on with my life. So that never takes place. And then, she's just deemed as a psycho. And this is in oodles of movies. Even in some shitty Something Borrowed, I think it was the movie that I had watched and I was ranting to you about. There's a whole thing where, like, this woman likes this guy, and rather than him just say, I'm uninterested in you, he just keeps making up excuses. So she looks like a crazy person. They like make her out to look like she's just a possessive, crazy ass bitch.
Remind me about this movie, because I think I have heard about it and I have something to say.
It's literally showing gaslighting in a movie. It's like, do you want to know what gaslighting is? Watch this movie.
Let me look it up. Let me look it up, because I think
When Something Borrowed has like so many bad negative things in it, like Emily knows, I went on a tirade after I watched that movie. I just went on a tirade. I was so angry watching that movie, because from start to finish, just everything in it was disgusting. And they market these kinds of movies as romances, and I'm just like,
I don't know this movie. I know this movie. And it's based on a book, I believe, and the author apparently is like garbage.
On a slightly random topic, since Alex is asking what highlighter you're wearing, Fefy, because it looks amazing.
It's stunning.
It's something like, I have my. This was a good. It's one of these Wet n Wild.
Yes, bitch, do it.
Nice.
Yeah, the platinum
mermaid
bar.
or something. Oh, the platinum bar. Okay.
And I wore it because it matches my eyeshadow on my lid. I don't know if you can see it.
It's beautiful. I love it.
And I'm using stuff from brands that people shave, but I want to know, like.
You still have the product though. You might as well just use it.
Yeah, you know which palette I used. Speaking of stuff that annoyed people and made people angry.
Get back.
The Urban Decay Game of Thrones palette. That's what I'm wearing. Because, and this is what I remember. I told this story in your life when you were trying the Kaleidos products for the first time.
Yeah.
That I got this palette because a friend of mine, very generous, was like, "Oh, I remember that you like books, and this palette looks like a book." I'm not even a fan of the books or the show, but it was like, it looks like a book, and I remember that you like reading, and I was like, this is so sweet, but it's so misguided.
You're like, I love the thought behind that.
Are amazing, actually. a little flaky.
Oh, okay.
This one isn't that flaky, but there's one there's one that's like metallic gold, and it's very flaky, but it looks good. This one is.
You're like, it's worth the effort.
Well, I have a lot of flaky ass highlighters. I don't care.
So
Dude, just relax.
I was like, I'm going to with the glowy queens. I need to rise to the occasion.
You exceeded any expectations in my book. I had no expectations, but you exceeded it.
Yeah. Poor Emily. Y'all don't understand how much Emily has to like deal with my random rantings when I'm hate watching like romance show, like movies. Because like I will start Marco Polo.
I love it.
I will like Marco Polo her at like 2:00 in the morning and be like, okay, I know you're asleep and you don't give a shit, but let me tell you all the reasons as to why I hate this movie. And like
I'm never asleep. It's always welcome.
Yeah. I'm never asleep. I go to bed.
I just want to say,
because like my best friend's wedding, I about lost my whole ass mind because I was like, why does anybody think that that's a good movie? Her entire thing is trying to steal someone else's man because she's discovered she has feelings and hers are more important. I was like, it's so romantic. I'm like, no, it's not. It's rude and hateful.
I remember when that movie came out, people being mad at the ending because she didn't succeed.
Exactly. And I was like, no, she shouldn't have succeeded. That's horrible. That's deplorable behavior. What kind of thing are we doing that we would say that, like, yeah, she should steal the man and, like, do well? Like, no, this is a rapper, by the way. Like, I have on pants. In case you see my leg, my hot dog.
The rom-com genre has done so much damage to good romance. Like, this is why people hate romance novels. Like, it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, like, when a new romance show or movie or whatever, romance writers post about it, and they're like, oh, I'm excited for this. I hope it's not disappointing.
Yeah.
I love it.
If it's disappointing, people lose. Like everyone else in the industry of romance writers lose because they think it's the same thing everywhere. And
that's true. That's true.
And I mean, if you look at there was a movie, I can't remember its name now all of a sudden, but it's got Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn in it. The Breakup.
The Breakup.
The most realistic portrayal, like not realistic, but a closer and better portrayal of a breakup,
realistic for a
where
movie.
where they don't end up together, and like all of the hate and nastiness in between, and then the final break.
I remember enjoying that, but I think that shouldn't have been marketed as a romance or as a rom-com.
It really shouldn't, because that's not what it was.
Rule number one.
Was it like a comedy?
It really wasn't that funny. Like, honestly, most of it was heart-wrenching and like uncomfortable. Like the large amount of that movie was drama. Yes, it really was.
And also, rule number one of romance is it has to have a happy ending.
Mm-hmm. And that does not.
And to get to that happy ending, the writer works really hard to establish that we root for the characters.
Yeah,
but they are making progress in their relationship, and this was like things kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and then they didn't end up together, which is realistic, but it doesn't fit what they were trying to market it as. So
correct, and that's why so many people were disappointed, because they thought it was going to be like this funny movie about two people going through a breakup and ending up together. And what happened is it was a funny movie, like a funny, somewhat a lot uncomfortable movie about two people going through a breakup who don't end up together at the end. Like they actually break up, it's over, they wander past each other at some point later in life, and like now they're able to like, you know, be like, hey, but not even like a hi kind of way, just like, hey, how you doing? good. And then
The
like
only
move
like,
on.
hi, bye.
advertisement of that movie was the title. Because they do break up, and they break up for good. That's the only advertisement. So yeah.
Angel said she's the only one whose screen is black.
Oh, this has been
Angel, I would leave the chat, like leave the video and just come back in and see if that helps.
Yeah,
Sir.
YouTube has just been doing weird things.
I remember when I was on Kelsey's live, people were saying that they didn't have image or sound. YouTube is having the hiccup again.
Yeah. I'm also starting to wonder if YouTube doesn't like StreamYard and is like, screw y'all for using StreamYard.
Yeah, but YouTube streaming service is garbage.
Yeah.
You can't do any of the, like, no offense, YouTube, but you can't do any of the things that you can do in StreamYard. And they're getting mad because everybody's going through StreamYard to stream. But it's like in YouTube, the way that I can't do comments. You have to like use some other plugin to get their stuff to work. That's too much work for me. Like I tried it before.
You can't have
and
other
it was
people
too much.
on.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think you can have other people on unless you have like a more intensive system. Yeah. So it's not worth it.
Like you can't blame YouTubers for finding a way to do this. So
yeah. I mean, like, and I think it's very interesting about all the various forms of harm. We talk about like stupid shit, especially when it comes to women. You know, and to bring it a little bit back to makeup and the makeover scene is how often her like the idea of like her not wearing makeup is problematic. Like if she would just wear a little blush, then she would be. And the makeover that they do for her is never one of extreme makeup, right? It's the no makeup look.
Yeah, it's either that or because here's the thing about makeup as a subject in general. There's something negative to both sides of the argument. Like there's the girl who doesn't look after herself and she could use some makeup, and then there's the not like other girls girl.
Yeah.
Who is so beautiful and she doesn't need makeup to be beautiful, blah blah blah. And that's those two tropes go like hand in hand in kind of and in a lot of forms of media that are geared towards women. So we're like, what do I do? Do I wear makeup? Do I not wear makeup?
Right, because like all the people who like the movie Grease, she literally goes like her whole makeover is like from like I'm just all right doing my schoolgirl thing. Like she goes from innocent and schoolgirl to just like tramp, you know. And I look at that and I go, how is that? Puts on a whole leather suit, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, wait. She was doing perfectly fine with her lame boyfriend Danny or whatever the other guy.
Exactly.
The other guy who was lame.
Wrote here like, the idea that to be loved and valued by another person you have to change yourself completely. So gross. Like I could like write an entire dissertation destroying that movie.
I think we all could.
I would love it. I would
never do a real legit TED talk, I'm probably going to go in on Grease. Like,
I never understood it. I never understood
and every school in this country has made a presentation based on it or whatever. But no, it's terrible.
Like there's so many things wrong with that, because it's like, you know, first of all, one of the things that we're also forgetting, that a lot of people forget about that movie, is she came from Australia. Like, they didn't even try to like do anything with her accent. They were like, no, she moved from Australia. So she's a foreigner in the US, And the only way that she can get the attention and like keep the attention of a guy that she already, by the way, had a perfectly lovely time with in the summer before she got to the States. Let's not forget that. They had a nice time. She looked like she looked. Then she gets to the States, goes to his school, and all of a sudden she's no longer good enough for him. Like, she was great for a summer fling, but if she wants to be everything, she needs to change how she is.
And it's like, and it's like, I will show him by becoming something he actually wants. It's like, I don't know if you understand revenge, girl, but revenge is about getting what you want.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And instead she flies off in a car with a loser.
And I just think
girl,
all of these, like,
girl, I can tell you, it's not it's not a Taurus. If she was, she would have done revenge the right way.
I'm sorry that he was like 30. Moving on. Go ahead.
Another case of grown ass.
Yeah.
Actually, that's like a reoccurring topic in the Kenny JD videos. She actually has a theme song for about the 20-something-year-old.
Oh my god. I need to watch her like beat in a bad movie because for some reason I haven't watched any of them. I keep hearing people talk about them.
I have to be honest. I disagree with her stance in romance because she clearly hasn't read the good stuff. She says herself that all the romantic stuff she has read or watched is super problematic.
Okay.
So she clearly hasn't read the good stuff or watched. Well, mostly read because the movies that they make are not that good. But when a romance novel gets an adaptation, it's a romance novel written by a man.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
don't even get me started on the novel.
Even Clueless is disgusting and picks up on a porn, or like on that pornography idea that is so prevalent, which is the stepbrother, dominating his sister, right?
I have to say that I do have a bit of a soft spot for it, but
I do.
I am because I'm, as it probably comes to a surprise for no one around here, I'm a Jane Austen fan, and Clueless is an adaptation of Emma.
Yes.
And according to researchers and scholars and whatever, it's the best adaptation of Emma. They say,
well, that's the thing is,
but the thing about Emma, Mr. Knightley was older than her, which is problematic in itself, but they weren't related in any way. Like they were kind of related because her sister was married to his brother, but they weren't like, oh, at one point your dad called me son or something like that.
Yeah. So, and we get that.
They could have changed that. They could have made the guy like an associate of his dad.
Yes, he literally could have been anything but her stepbrother.
The family in the original book.
He really could have been anything. So I have a soft spot for the movie because without Clueless, I would not have fallen in love. Because the first time I saw Alicia Silverstone was actually not in Clueless. But anyways, I saw her in The Crush.
There's so much more to Alicia Silverstone before Clueless. So much more. It was just it was like her pinnacle.
That was another why the hell did I ever think I was straight moment. I have been as someone who came out not really to my family but came out in her I came out like 5 years ago, so I was already grown. I have been thinking about the media I consumed as a child, and a lot of things are clicking. A lot of things are clicking.
Agreed.
Listen,
Agreed. For
same.
me, it was the variety of attractions in Clueless, and especially Ty. I think because she was like slightly like she wasn't even thicker. She just had like she had, I guess, a bit of a, she seemed more developed than the other girls. But I was just like, oh, even before the makeover. Speaking of another movie with the makeover, even
However,
before
that
the
makeover I
with
did
her.
enjoy.
Yeah,
but the reason I enjoyed it is because at the end she was like, "No, this isn't who I am."
Not to be a nerd, but
yeah,
the makeover fits if you see Clueless as an adaptation of Emma, because Emma tries to turn Elliot into a different person, so she's accepted and part of a group of friends and finds a good husband. So it makes sense that in a high school setting they're going to try to make the popular girl try to change her so she can be popular too. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and then in the end, Ty still chooses to be herself and hangs out with Breck and Meyer.
Yeah,
exactly. Daisy made a good point earlier about so Daisy said, I don't rewatch a lot of stuff I used to like because when I have, I just end up being critical of it all and consider it trash now.
Oh God, there's
a bit of that, but there's also like a part of me that like there's some of it where I'm like, that was horrible, why did I like it? But then there's others where I'm critical of it in a good way where I can watch it. Like Disney, though, I'm not like that. The majority of Disney I watch and I'm just like, this is trash.
Disney is trash.
Why are we doing this? But there's some movies where I can look and go, okay, I can look at it objectively. Like Clueless, for the most part, I do enjoy it. The only thing that really grosses me out is the step-bro part. To be honest, I'm like, they literally could have made that an associate of her father's that she was aware of, that comes every summer and like had worked and she knew him that way. For it to be her stepbrother was gross and pointed, to be honest.
People who love that movie and who say like that's their favorite movie have said that. It's like, yeah, I recognize this problematic aspect of the movie.
I mean, I still love Can't Hardly Wait. Like there's so many horrible things. Like homophobia abounds in that movie. Like there's so many horrible things. But the movie itself, like it really encapsulates my youth. So it's very difficult for me to like not like that movie. Like that's a fact. The Aristocats is no, it's not the only good movie. It's also The Great Mouse Detective, Alex the Alchemist.
Oh, The Great Mouse Detective.
The Great Mouse Detective is the best Disney movie.
I have to admit, I am by no means a Disney adult, and they're a terrible company. But they're the mushy girly girl in me has a bit of a soft spot for the princess movies. That being said, I recognize what's problematic about them, which other people don't.
Yeah, Disney made some good horror films. Like you can not say it's a horror film if you want to, but Fantasia is a horror film. Point blank. Period.
Fantasia is a horror film. We watched that as kids on rotation, and now I'm like,
why is if you have never taken acid, but you want to know how that feels,
you're right.
Watch Fantasia.
Yep.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
And the other movie that is kind of like that, but it's not Disney, but it was like a mega. Do you guys remember that weird, like say no to drugs?
Yes.
Movie? It was like a bunch of characters from different. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I didn't imagine that.
That it wasn't a fever dream.
The worst was that girl one round. See, like,
Alex says Fantasia scared the shit out of me as a child, and it's the reason why Alex has anxiety.
Yeah, because listen, Disney made a few horror films, and people don't realize that they were horror films. Fantasia and The Great Mouse Detective is a horror film. There is a giant freaking rat who wants to be a mouse, who has a huge cat that he regularly feeds people who piss him off. He feeds the other mice to the cat.
Wow.
It is horrific. Horrific.
I like that T walked in and said, y'all talking about acid. We're talking about how Fantasia was the acid of our youth without acid.
Fantasia, you want to feel like what taking drugs is like? Watch Fantasia.
Yeah. Because Fantasia is like a whole ass drug trip. Like that is an entire acid trip. It's like the beginning where you're like, ooh, this is fun. And then the middle where you're like, oh my God, why won't it stop?
It really makes you wonder what the people making the movie were taking.
Man.
Yes. Some heavy, expensive shit because they work for Disney.
Yeah, and they did.
What year was that? When did it come out?
I need to look this up because, like I said, it was for some reason it was a movie that we owned that would just get put on at random times. I think because it was so long, my mom would just put it on at random parts, and I probably watched it more times than I could count. It was originally released in 1940.
No, Rachel, I agree. That's one of Disney's best movies ever because I'm a horror lover.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's amazing, but why was I watching it as a kid?
Yeah, I would thought that movie was made in like the 60s or 70s.
They remade it a few times.
Because of the acidness of it.
Listen, Fantasia is probably most people's gateway into horror, and you either loved being frightened and wanted to see more of that shit, or you saw it and you're like, nope.
To talk about Fantasia in your Terror Tuesday.
Ooh, I love that idea.
Yeah, cartoons that are actually horror films.
Or so you avoid getting sued because fucking Disney, man. Movies that were supposed to be for children that are actually creepy as fuck. That would be a good subject for your Terror Tuesday.
Yeah, because
I kind of want to call it like movies that were for adults.
I don't know.
Somehow got marketed for kids.
Yeah.
For real, because that shit was just.
Movies I remember being excited for as a kid. And then watching them and being like, why is this so creepy? Why is this so sad? And I'm like this, like slowly backing away from the screen. Like,
Mo has a good point. Disney killed Bambi's mom in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Like
dark shit.
Yeah, I have to admit I was a princess movie type of bitch. But the ones with the animals in which I knew the animal was going to suffer, I was like, no. I have been falling trapped to this kind of stuff too many times. I know something is going to happen to this adorable animal. You can't fool me. I stopped watching them.
That's fun. That's amazing. And Disney ties into like I know Audra and I have talked so much about, and it's all this like fictional stuff that annoys us because the whole Disney, especially the Disney princess like storytelling, it's like that fictional shit. It's like the makeover thing. It's this bigger toxic influence on the world, and people are like, oh, it's just a movie, and it's like, no.
Yeah,
these stories that you're telling are important.
You have to see the movie instead of being like, or they are like, this was made in this year. They were different times. Blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, I get that, but you have to understand what that means instead of using it as an excuse. For I don't know why it's not actually that problematic, because it was still problematic.
Well, if it's not problematic and it's just a movie, then we wouldn't have shows like Bridezilla. Like we wouldn't have shows like that because women would not be thinking that I have to be a princess on my wedding day or else it doesn't matter. And it's one day of your life. Like I've been married. It's one day of your life. You don't really remember most of what's happening because you are in a different zone. So it's not something where, you know, like the wedding day doesn't have to be perfect and all this stuff. In fact, it's better when it's not perfect because that's the shit you're going to remember. You're not going to remember the perfect. You're not getting any fucking chips, bro. But the movie, I have chips because I need a little snack, but so that's why you guys might see me laughing, but not hear anything because I'm muting my mic because I chew. I have a chewing problem. I like to chew. So it's pretty rowdy, but, you know, but yeah, I mean, you wouldn't see that. That would not be a thing. Horse-drawn carriages, all of that would not be embedded in our romantic culture.
Even me, who has admitted that I love Cinderella, and every time a movie is a Cinderella adaptation, I'm like, okay, this was made for me. I'm going to watch it. I have to admit that, the whole, like, it has to be like this. This is what you have to aspire to. That annoys me. Either way.
Even the idea of wearing glass slippers.
That's like, how were those shoes practical? Like, how did she
even possible?
No wonder she loved one. Actually, there's a romance novel. I'm not going to fully recommend it because the guy pulls some shenanigans. I mean, he redeemed himself by the end, but for some people, it could be a little bit too shenanigan-y. If that's not a word, but whatever. And that movie and that book is a Cinderella adaptation. It's like I called it Cinderella, but make it sexy because there's sexy time. And there's no fairy godmother, but she borrows a dress from an old relative, and when they get to the shoes, there are actual shoes. They're actually easy to wear, to walk in, because they're actual shoes made of shoe material. And what she loses is a glove, because it was a costume party.
Well, and remember, Drew Barrymore did one of the only movies that I really liked Drew Barrymore in.
Ever After.
Ever After was really good.
Yeah.
It was a really good change in it, that she had control over her destiny and she was not going to just be like, because I think Doug Ray Scott was the prince. Listen, I cannot remember anybody's character name ever, but for some reason I always remember their actor names. Do not come for me on that. But Doug Ray Scott was in it, and it was just much better. And it was something where you're like, okay, this makes sense. Like, this is how this movie should be. And considering how much money it made, it's weird to me that we don't see more movies made in that vein.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird about the whole Cinderella is just as bad as, say, Snow White. Because Snow White's goal was to marry the prince. Cinderella just wanted to have a good time for one night because her life was trash. So that's a bit different, but I understand that it's much better when she takes control of other aspects of her life, which is what kind of happens in the book I was referring to.
It's interesting because I don't remember Cinderella that much, so all I think about is she wanted to. So my thought is she still wanted to escape the hell she was in, and if that means marrying the prince, then.
And when she was with the prince, she didn't even know he was the prince. Which, girl, you really didn't know he was the prince? He was waiting for all this ladies, and the ball was for him, and he was dressed kind of fancy, like
Right? But like the original Cinderella and how she handled up on her stepsisters, gruesome. Gruesome. She was not kind to them like she was in the movie. Like, no. Like, even in the movie, they did get closer to, like, the actual, but not Buddy.
Oh, you mean like the
Hans
animated
Christian
movie?
Andersen, like the original Cinderella.
Yes. Yeah, it was not a pretty tale. Because she did some really fucked up shit to her sisters. Which they deserved, but it wasn't cute.
I mean,
the base of princess movies have a horrific, like, they're dark. Some people in the chat were saying that, like, the original, where they came from, those stories are fucking dark.
And a lot of people and a lot of people say, which is my thing, that again, I sound like a broken record, I'm sorry, about why I like romance novels so much, is that people are like, oh, I like the original tale because it didn't have a happy ending, so it wasn't dumb. I'm like, with a happy ending doesn't have to be dumb, but okay. Go on with your emo face. Okay. Panic at the Disco. I love Panic at the Disco, but
like, listen, y'all about to hear some real shit. Real things are about to happen here. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I fucking love Hilary Duff. I will watch any movie that Hilary Duff is in. Any movie, like, I love Hilary Duff. Love her. And she was in A Cinderella Story, which is another retelling with Chad Michael Murray.
Masterpiece.
Masterpiece. Thank you.
Poetic cinema.
She did the thing. Listen,
I think I missed the whole Hilary Duff train, to be honest. So I have no thoughts.
Get on the Hilary. Listen, if you start watching anything with Hilary Duff in it, your whole mind. Go watch some Lizzie McGuire. You're gonna lose that.
I was already a bit.
Yeah, like I never watched Lizzie McGuire.
I was already a bit too grown. I was already a bit too grown up for Lizzie McGuire. But when Lizzie McGuire was on, no one could talk to me. Like, I'm watching Lizzie McGuire. Don't interrupt me. This is a special time for me.
I always want chips.
McGuire time was me time, okay?
He did.
I think so. Yeah.
Chad Michael Murray did infamously, because he was married to Sophia Bush. Like, they married each other. Sorry about the burp. They married each other. And right after they got married, like, he cheated. Wow. It was a little rough. Like, listen, I know I was too old to be watching Lizzie McGuire, but what y'all don't understand about me is I was preserving my virginity. Not for any other reason than I just didn't want to do it in an awkward position or place. So I just continued being like a kid as long as I could be a kid. So I was watching Lizzie McGuire. And also I used to watch Sailor Moon with my mom.
I was also preserving my virginity, and I preserved it so well that I still have it.
Nothing wrong with that.
but it's a social construct, so it does. Oh, yeah. That's another fictional thing that annoys me. When there's a character who's a virgin and her only storyline is that she's a virgin. I hate it so much.
That's the only characteristic you know about the woman.
And she has a friend who tells her that the solution to her problem is having sex. It's
correct.
Like, all your problems is because you're a virgin. If you had a man, usually a man. If you had a man, everything would change. You need to get onto the sexy times business. Get with the times. And I'm like, she doesn't need to do any of that. She is in the times. She doesn't need to get with anything.
Yeah, I mean, if y'all want to see a fun queer-centric movie, like it's a horror, it's fun, but it is a fun horror. It's All Cheerleaders Die. If you have not seen that, you will end up having a remarkably good time. Stop licking. There's nothing for you yet.
Whoa, want attention.
I agree that virginity is generally an annoying fictional thing. And so many movies and shows are focused around, like you were saying, Fefy, like this person is a virgin. All their problems would end if they just get with a boy or a man. It's like, actually, all your problems will begin.
or it's a great statement when she announces that she's a virgin, and I'm like, okay, good for you or bad for you, depending on how you're feeling today. Why did you have to tell me that? I said, ma'am, this is a McDonald's drive-thru.
Yeah, like what's funny is somebody else had brought it up, like it's different if it's a man, and it's true because they made a movie called Once Bitten with young Jim Carrey. He's in this movie. Basically, he runs into a female vampire who is having some difficulty because trying to find a male virgin in the 80s was rough. Okay. So she happens upon Jim Carrey, and he's tested because, you know, she's trying to keep him and make him a full vampire. No, sir, you're not getting any goddamn chips. No, sir, no chips for you. No. Nope. And then, no, sir. Nope. And so there's a whole battle between the vampire and like his girlfriend, and the solution, funnily enough, is having sex with his girlfriend in a coffin, which, you know, good times. No, sir.
Whatever floats your boat, I guess.
I guess that's the answer to everything. Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Agree, Thorn. I wish a cute boy would fix all my problems actually existed. I need one right now.
Same, Thorn. Same.
Yes, this Lauren is a good point from Diana.
Oh,
do you mean how, according to to my mom, all my problems will magically end if I have a baby?
Girl,
it's a
they'll only
similar
worsen.
concept, though.
Yeah, I have told you all about my poor best friend. She is studying. She is doing her third major in college. She's in law school, and her family are still like, "Oh, your cousin got married and had a baby. When are you going to do it? You're getting old." Blah 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 blah. And she's like, "I'm busy being an amazing law student, but whatever." Oh,
yep. You're nothing if you're not married and have a child. Married to a man and with a child.
Yeah.
You're nothing if you're a woman.
I'm so grateful that my family doesn't think that. That's the only good thing.
Also, that was heavy sarcasm on my point, my part.
Yeah.
Rami, you saying that actually brings you back to American Pie with Tara Reid.
Oh God.
Because the first time was awkward, and I loved that part in the movie. Like, I will say this a gazillion times, because they loved each other. They were so in love. They were high school sweethearts. And what I loved about that is when they finally had sex, she was just like, okay, well, maybe I don't love you. You know, like she kind of woke up to the realization that maybe her infatuation and love for him over all of this time was built into her virginity. And like, if you look at it from that perspective, and one thing that happened is once they had sex, she began to realize not only was her virginity not as important as she thought it was, but her love for him wasn't actually there. It was built in because she was saving herself specifically for him. Mm-hmm. Once it happened, she was like, oh, I guess I don't actually love you. Weird. Mm-hmm. And then they broke up, and like through the rest of the movies, they weren't together anymore.
Yeah, it's like the thing you were talking about the other day with the reality show. I always forget, with the girl who was a virgin, and if she made everything for being a virgin.
Married at first sight.
Yeah. And it's like, why are you? Yeah. She was saving herself even after she was married. And
yeah.
Like, why even?
Yeah.
That
was very awkward.
Well, and a huge part of the problem there was like, you can be a virgin and that's fine. You cannot be sexually unaware like she was. She was sexually unaware to the point where just like the littlest thing made it impossible for them to be intimate, and just like a baby, like a small way for him to just be able to like gently touch and caress her. Like he couldn't do these things. And you begin to realize, like, listen, when we value, no, sir, you can growl all you want. You ain't getting no goddamn chips. So you can value your virginity and all of that stuff. But if you do not have any sexual awareness, like everything she did was laughing. And he's just like, I'm just trying to touch you. Yeah. Does it have to be a joke? Does it have to be funny? Emily popped out for a sec.
The other thing is like intimacy doesn't always have to be sex immediately. And the fact that you don't open yourself to that's a problem.
I closed the tab by accident.
Well, yeah, because I feel very strongly that, like, yeah, intimacy doesn't mean sex. Sex can be intimate, but also sex can be complete. Listen, as somebody who for a very long time, very early in my life, I separated sex and love. I just felt that it was very important to do so. I don't know where it came from, but I just felt like it was very important to separate sex from love, because when you marry the two together, it does make it difficult for you, because every person that you have sex with is potentially somebody that you're in love with. And it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you can literally do this because it's pleasurable, right? But the sad part about that is when you attach love to sex, it's specifically for women. It's almost never for men. You're not getting the chips. And men get to walk away from all of that intimacy and all that good stuff. And they get to use that love feeling that women have against them. So this is why women end up, night, Rachel, why so many women end up bitter and angry, is because men used the idea of love to get into the sack with them. And then once in the sack, they were nowhere to be found.
Actually in Spanish, they called it the proof of love. If you actually love me, you're going to have sex with me. And a lot of guys ask for that.
Yeah.
And I remember my classmates when I was in high school, and they're really problematically much older boyfriends pulling that shit on them. So,
well, love became the new blue balls. Like, instead of saying like, I've got blue balls, it's like, but I love you.
Or
do you love me?
Why don't you love me? Yeah.
And you're like, I can love you without like that.
But I think that goes into the whole virginity conversation and the weight that is layered on, especially women, for being a virgin. It's like, you better really love the person that you lose your virginity to. And it's like, love doesn't mean shit when it comes to sexual compatibility or chemistry.
Yeah.
No,
and
it doesn't.
If you have a bad first time and you thought you loved this person, and then like, not everyone's gonna have an easy Tara Reid American Pie situation of like, I guess we didn't love each other. Like, a lot of people feel like they really fucked up, that something is wrong with them, especially as women. They're like, well, why didn't I enjoy it? Well, why? Like, no. Like, it's also heavy. It makes everything so heavy and complicated when you should just be able to explore your sexuality and your body without worrying about.
It's like a big, serious thing, and like that's another fictional thing that annoys me.
Yeah.
Especially in badly written romantic stuff. The sex part is like dramatic and like so serious and so important, and it's like, you guys don't laugh ever.
Yeah, like when your bodies slap together and fart, like your body's like the concaveness, like
your moment. Like,
Because, like, you know, it's because I'm dead ass serious. Like, your bodies like suction
No, it's
together
true,
and make
like-
a fart noise, and
Yeah.
so it's like you laugh at some point, like, oh my god, that's so funny, or your stomach
You never
growls.
have, like someone fall off the bed,
Or you queef on them or something.
Or fart directly in their mouth.
Yeah, like it's like, and that usually that heavy, serious, whatever aspect to sex is tied to the fact that the main couple is like, oh, we're both terrible people who damage each other all the time, but we can't help it.
Yeah.
It's like, if you guys admit that you are suffering, even when you're together, why?
Yeah. Yeah, the toxic relationship is absolutely disgusting. It's something that is prevalent in a lot of movies where people just constantly hurt each other and then they like end up together somehow. And you're like, but your whole relationship is toxic. And Cheyenne brought up, just got here, not sure if this was mentioned already, but I hate when someone puts a wig or a small eye mask on and all of a sudden no one can recognize them. This actually does tie in, because if you look at Superman, like it essentially tells that women are stupid. Like it's basically like women are dumb. Women are dumb. Like, how can you fucking not know?
Because
Like,
he
doesn't even
just
put on
takes
a
his
mask.
glasses off.
Like,
He literally takes his glasses off and puts a curl in his hair.
The guy, like he's a nerd, but he's still like buff and the same height, and he has the same haircut. And I say this as someone who actually likes Superman, but come on.
But it was weird. And to this day, I still say that.
I would have been like, don't worry, buddy. Your secret's safe with me.
And then Mo had brought up, you know, when women.
I would have, in that position, I would have been like, don't worry, I'm not a snitch. I'm not going to tell.
And then Mo, because meanwhile, Batman's just telling every woman he's with, like, I'm Batman. I'm Batman. But Mo brought up, my thing is, when I tell a man no strings, then after sex, he wants to pretend I'm in a relationship with him. Boy, I don't know you. Don't talk to me in public. This is so prevalent, and I have experienced this as well, that men, when you tell them no strings, and they're like, oh, great, because I don't want any strings. What's weird about it is how often they change their mind immediately because you're like, okay, well, I got to go. So, like, and they're like, what? You could stay the night? I'm like, why? I'm like,
we had this
I feel like we did the thing. And that was always my problem. Like, even in college, I always was like, I feel like we did what we both came here for. So it's like, why do you need my number? And then they would just look at me like incredulous that I didn't care. I'm like, dude, I don't like you enough. Honestly, I only know your first name so I could write it down in my black book so I knew who to call if anything went wrong, because I was sexually aware and trying to make sure I didn't get diseases. So, like, listen, I don't want to see you again.
The guy being like, wait, I wasn't the best thing that ever happened to you? Oh my God.
I didn't change your life, and you're like, you barely made me come.
Yes. Like, I barely had an orgasm, and you're over here like trying to become my man. And I'm like, why is this happening? Like, what you're doing is like, okay. But like, I don't really, it wasn't good enough for me to even keep you in my rotation, son. So like, what do you want right now?
Angela put it perfectly. Well, they want no strings. You're supposed to be strong.
And I'm not. I'm like, oh, I'm not interested. Like, leave me alone. Listen, Diana.
Mo saying Superman's curl diffuses the light around his face. That's why.
Oh, shit.
Why we don't recognize him. Yeah, so Henry fucking Cavill just wears a different outfit and you don't know it's the same guy. Thank you, Diana.
Like oh my, this nerd is kind of buff and super muscular and what reminds me of someone, and they never get it.
Right? They're just sitting there like, the worst part is like, he always disappears when Superman shows up. And she's like, Clark, you missed everything.
Happens to be
like
gone.
every time. every time. She just looks at him, Clark, you missed all the action. I'm like, bitch, are you serious? I'm gonna lose my whole ass mind.
Super betrayed when she finds out that he's Superman, and I'm like, you didn't figure that out yourself? It's your fault. I'm sorry.
Also,
Sorry.
there are so many.
I'm always going to take the woman's side in some situations, but this one, no, you did that to yourself.
Yeah. Also, there are so many good comments in the chat. Katie said, your dick isn't magical enough for me to change my mind with notes about no strings attached. She also said, I had to work way too hard for that orgasm, first of all. Second, I'm not a sex teacher.
Yeah.
And
it was just a weird deal that I kept running into it, where they would just look at me and just be like, what? And then they're blowing up my phone. I'm like, I'm super busy. Like I have to like take a shower, and then like after the shower I have to take a nap. So it's like I'm really busy, bro.
And you have this thing that you have to take care of the prince. So
well, and it's like Alex is saying, I think they were incredulous because they expect you to go back on your word and be able to reject you when you try to get serious.
Yeah.
They think the woman is always going to be the person that's like, oh, my heart, I've changed. Let's make this serious. And they could be like, oh, no. We said we were just, and it's like, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and I'm always like, all right, deuces. And like that's why I say that's one of the reasons why I go deuces. It's like in case any of my exes ever watch, I was serious when I said deuces, bro. Bye.
That's why
I love that.
What did he say?
I love how T describes it as a location scout. T said the first round will be average sex if you're lucky. I think it's really just a location scout to see if you want to schedule a return visit.
Yeah, and most of the time I'm like uninterested in it. Most of the time I'm just like, that was like good. Like I met you at the club. This was fun. Like that, and that's how I'm like, I met you at the club. You were sexy. We were sexy dancing. Now we're hooking up. It's like this is okay. This is all right. Yeah. Like I'm not really like it's okay. Like I mean, like I said, I'm gonna get mine anyway. But I'm like this was okay. Like this wasn't like a really great time for me where I was like, oh my god.
The amount of times you said okay in that short period of time is like such a mood. You're just like, I mean, it's okay. I mean, okay was okay, but like, it's just okay.
The amount of okay sex I've had in my life is high. Like I've just, and they think they're doing something. They're like, yeah, I'm like, yeah. Oh God, this is too much for me to take.
I'm still traumatized on your behalf because of coconut oil, guy.
Oh my God! Yes.
And I'm allergic to coconut oil.
My whole body, like clamped. Like I was like closing myself onto myself when I was watching you talk about that.
Girl, the amount of first of all, the slipperiness was unparalleled. But then for him to like. I was just like, this is horrible. I'm just staring at the ceiling. And he was like, the fact that he was like, could you make that noise again? I was like, bro, are you serious? Like you realize right now that I'm not having a good time. And rather than just stop it, you're like, could you make that noise again? And I'm like, so you recognize I'm faking it at this point. And what you need is for me to continue faking it. So that you can blow on my stomach. I don't think so.
He was asking you to that to make that noise again, thinking it was sexy or
yes,
like he was talking dirty or whatever. But you know that
like he was doing some magic shit.
That's actually sexy. When the girl is making noises because she enjoys
it. So right quick, I'm going to answer Alex's question because she was saying, I always wanted to know, for those who have engaged in no strings attached sex, do you get tested with your normal doctor each time? Is that covered by insurance or is that a free clinic type thing? So as somebody who just initially started out with no strings, I got tested between each partner. It was just a normal occurrence for me. I think that needs to be highly normalized, that you get tested between partners. Typically wait a few weeks before engaging with another partner, and then get tested, and then get tested again a few weeks later. Regardless of using all your safety stuff, your condoms, your dental dams, which nobody uses that, but that's fine. Cause that's weird. That's a weird, like, let me just put this saran wrap over your punani and let's get going. But, I was in California at the time. So Planned Parenthood there was very, very generous. I got like a year's worth of birth control free. I regularly got tested on campus at USC for free. And then I could also get tested at Planned Parenthood for free. It was something that I did regularly. And I highly encourage every person to do that, because when you're having no strings attached, like, this is why I would get people's names, their first and last names, get their phone number, and I would write it down in the book, because you can't rely on your phone sometimes, because, you get mad, start cleaning shit out. But I would write it down in a book, the black book, I guess. And then that way, if anything happened, I knew exactly who to contact about what had gone wrong. So then that way, if something happened, I was like, I'm calling, Chad about such and such. And like, I've never slept with anybody named Chad, by the way, because I'm not that basic bitch, but moving on.
You
I
have
made
better
it very
taste than that. Sorry anyway.
Yes. I haven't even had a Kyle. So there.
Yeah.
And
this is the importance of Planned Parenthood, and why defunding Planned Parenthood is fucking maddening, because it's a space for a lot of resources, and generally it should also be a space of no judgment. As multiple people in the chat mentioned, if you have a regular doctor and you have insurance and you're going, try to have a doctor that's not judging you, so that when you need to go get tested, you can go get tested, and you don't feel the stupid shame that you shouldn't feel, because safe sex is the most important thing you can do.
Correct. And there are people who so if you're like, for instance, assault, there's nothing you can do about contracting something from that. I experienced that in my life. It was curable, but I experienced that from assault, that I had contracted something from that assault. If it wasn't for Planned Parenthood, I really wouldn't have had a space to go, because I didn't have insurance. I was working a lot of odd jobs. So I wouldn't have had the space and the place to go to be like, because I was like, I feel like there's something wrong down there and I don't know what it is, and I need to go see somebody.
Yeah.
Because we all know, we all have like a sense that they're like,
this doesn't feel normal.
You're being weird. Girl, you'll be a weird. So I was able to go to Planned Parenthood and get my diagnosis, get my medication, and have everything cleared up and be able to live my best life. But here's the thing is, like, people always think like, because it's curable, and will leave you and you won't have to like have conversations with people about those kinds of things, like syphilis, chlamydia, like the thing, it's fine. It's not, because if you don't get tested and if you don't get the medication, the effects, like chlamydia, can cause you to be infertile. If you don't get it taken care of fast enough, you can become infertile from that. So like, these aren't just, I think because people hear cure, they think it's not dangerous. It's still dangerous. It's still very, very dangerous. So it's just, when you look at Planned Parenthood, and like 99.99999% of their services are helping men and women and non-binary people to be able to get help for their issues, especially sexual health issues. But that's not all that they do there. They do all, like, just health in general. They're missing the point that everyone should have access. There would be no need for Planned Parenthood if everybody already had access to healthcare. If everybody already had access and people weren't busy shoving their beliefs. My staunch belief is, I don't give a shit what you are doing in your bedroom as long as it's consensual and you're both happy. Mm-hmm. It's none of my business, and it should never be my business. Roe v. Wade was founded on that exactly. It's none of your business. It's none of anybody's business. And if that gets overturned ever, which I don't suspect it will, because no good Supreme Court judge would do that, because that opens up a big shitty door for jobs to be able to access everyone's healthcare, everyone's. And that's a thing that I am very, very adamant not happen. Your job should not be able to have access to your health care. They should not be able to access what you're getting treated for, because essentially what that means is like, think about the times that you've had anxiety or you have anxiety and you suffer from panic attacks. Like that could very well be a reason that they use to not give you a promotion. Because they'd be like, well, I mean, you have anxiety. So like, and that's not right.
You're not performing as well because you have anxiety, which is basically just an excuse to, like, you could be performing just as good or better than other people, but they're going to be able to say you're not performing that well, and because you have anxiety. So like, and we don't think you could really handle the promotion because, you know, you get really nervous about big changes and like all this shit they shouldn't know. But here's the thing is that I agree that should never be revealed, but I don't trust our government right now enough to that if they did that fuckery, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't trust the Supreme Court enough right now for that.
I'm in the States and I'm like, I don't trust them.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because sexual health is extremely important. And the reason that they don't want it for us and that they have convinced the masses down here, because the rich people, they're performing their abortions. They're doing all the things that they need to do to preserve their wealth, right? Mm-hmm. The reason they don't want it here is because they don't want us to have that same ability and access. So if you are a young woman who has a promising life ahead of her and happens to have a condom break, you're practicing safe sex, but the condom broke. Instead of just being like, yeah, you can continue with your promising life if that is the choice that you make. It's like, nope, you did this. But they don't do the same thing for their people up here who are rich. They do everything they can to make sure rich people get everything taken care of for them. So if a rich boy, which this is a trope that happens in movies all the time, a rich boy gets a townie pregnant and either, you know, she doesn't have the baby or she does, but she's left or some bullshit. Mm-hmm. The point is he never has to take responsibility. And in general, men do not have to shoulder responsibility for unwanted children. They have a zero responsibility for it. It's fucking disgusting. My own father was a deadbeat dad. I think in my entire life, like once he was out of our life when I was like 3 years old, he maybe contributed $150 to my raising. $150. So do not tell me that and men constantly say this shit. They look at you, well, you know, then maybe just don't have sex. Okay, well, then maybe you don't have sex. Maybe you don't ask women for sex. Maybe you just sit there, you don't say a fucking word about sex, and you're content with just being together. But you don't want that. What you want is to have sex with zero consequences. You don't want to wear a condom, but you damn sure don't want to have kids, and you don't want to be bothered with it. And if she doesn't want to have the child,
you also would never take birth control. You would never take birth control. Birth control for men should be like, I don't know science. I'm not a science. I didn't study it. I don't know shit about it. But should not be like, that should be on the market. But men would never take it because it's not their responsibility. And as Diana said, men can just leave.
Birth control has horrible effects on women. It is something that many have been looking at there's a few reasons why people are looking at why women as young as 24 are starting to and have been experiencing infertility, especially in the US. There's no reason why a 24-year-old woman should be experiencing infertility. And the problem is it's way too many of them. It's not like it's a couple of women. It is a large amount of women suffering from this. Part of it is birth control. Another part of it suspected is birth control. Another part of it suspected is all the shit that we have in the things that we allow in our plastics and our food that other countries, other developed nations have banned. And we still allow this stuff in food. So you sit there, and the alternative to that is if a woman can't get pregnant but wants to, it's expensive as fuck. The government won't cover it. So the government doesn't want to help you not have a baby, and the government doesn't want to help you have a baby. But if you should get pregnant, you have to. That makes zero sense. But meanwhile, if you can't get it up, well, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure you can and make sure that the insurance covers your get it up pills. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's even worse. as you can probably imagine.
Yeah.
Night, Angie.
I mean, there's lots of. Oh, good night, Angie. Well, that's the thing, is that men don't want to put in the work.
Correct.
Or just a tiny bit of work. Not even a lot of work. A tiny bit of work. They don't want to do that. The work is always lies on the woman. We're always responsible to make sure we've either taken our pills regularly, we have the or the vaginal condoms, or we have the plan B on hand. Like,
yeah,
all of these things, generally speaking, and a lot of people that I mean, because like I'm asexual, so I'm not having sex, or in times of the pandemic, not at all. But everyone I know that's like a woman or non-binary person in this world, I feel like has all complained at some point in time about like having to do the work.
Yeah.
Because the man in their relationship doesn't give a fuck.
And
because they want to get in there and they want to do what they want, because we all know sex with a condom is not particularly fantastic. And I personally have a latex allergy indoors. It's fine out, but don't indoor it. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm doing all this work to make sure I don't get pregnant. And yet, like, if I do, you just walk away clean. And sincerely, Alex was asking, what do you think about guys being able to walk away from a pregnancy that they didn't want? Like, the condom breaks, they took precaution, but the woman wants to keep the baby. Should he be able to opt out? He should be able to opt out. However, here is the thing. He also severs all ties. And I say this because this is there's a person in my family, there's more than one person, there's people in my family, this is a close subject to me. Severs all ties. He cannot and never will be able to contact that child, because you cannot, as a father, decide later, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, now that you've grown up, you cannot decide at that point that you now want to meet your child. And I know that seems harsh and it seems cold, but the reality of the situation is she's either raised that child alone and either made up something so that the child didn't have to feel shitty about their father, or just said, like, you died, whatever it was. But she's done what she's needed to do to preserve her child's growing up. And she could also be with somebody else. For you to come into that child's life when somebody else essentially raised that child as their own is selfish. That's what it becomes. It's not about the child anymore. It's about you being a selfish prick. And you're like, oh, I've made mistakes and now I want to fix them. Well, it's too late. You had your opportunity and you squandered it. So that's the shit I don't like. Like, men can pick and choose when they want to control women's bodies. And I think it's disgusting.
Yeah, and the reasons why they want to be a father now are never usually really good.
It's also always self-serving. It's always serving themselves.
I know a guy who ditched the mother of his baby, but then he puts pictures on Facebook of the baby, like, look at me. This is my baby. Isn't he cute? And it's obviously for people to feel bad for him, or I don't know which other motives he has, but they have nothing to do with the baby.
I just wanted to say the comment from Our Daily Broad, which I don't have to click again, was, would you trust a man to remember to take the pill? I'm so fucking tired of this world framing men out of being incapable of being adults.
Correct.
Women can take the pill, men can take the pill. We can both take it. Everyone can be responsible to take birth control, or maybe women don't take birth control because it fucks with their head or their body. I'm so frustrated with the way this entire planet lets men be babies and get away with it and get rewarded for it.
Yeah,
it's not part of the conversation. It's not a part of the, like, reasoning. People should do it.
Yeah. Because Nisha brought up, like, it messed me up really bad when Mr. Deadbeat Dad all of a sudden wanted to be a part of my life as soon as I turned 18, no back child support. And that's what brings back to what Emily was saying, is it is self-serving.
Yeah.
Typically, these men want to come into your life when A, they don't have to pay anything for it. So they've been watching you grow up this whole time and just been in the background. Or B, they have started a new life and now they have to show that this person, that they are a good person and worthy. And in order to do that, they have to go back in time and be like, this is my child. Like, I have a connection with my child, but they don't. So it's like, you can't. And this is why it bothers me that men have any say in women terminating pregnancies, because you obviously did not care at the time that you were having sex with this woman, that you were not using protection. You did not care about it, that you could potentially get her pregnant. Now that she is pregnant and burdened with this, you suddenly want to force her to have this baby. The fun fact about the majority of the men who want to force her to have this baby, they don't want full custody of this child. Keep that in mind. The majority of these men don't want full custody of this child. They're literally doing this as a get back at you. Like, you don't get to choose. Like, maybe we stopped hooking up or whatever. I called you a couple of times, but now you don't get to say no to me. I, the man, get to tell you what you're going to do. You're going to have this baby. And you know what's a great part about that? He ends up still not having to pay a goddamn dime. Because they don't keep up with that.
I agree with, there's a comment in the chat about how all men, or at least some men, should get vasectomies. So Tree Birds originally said encourage men to get them, and then T said some days I feel like all men should get them. And Nusha made a good point. They're reversible. Why not have it be a requirement? And then when you're both ready to have kids, when you're ready to have a child, and whoever you're with is ready, have the reversal.
Yeah. But our Daily Broad brought up the exact reason why not. They want to punish the woman for sex. Like, that's what it comes down to. All of the onus of sex is on women. All of it. Because nobody says, like, oh, they're pregnant. They only say that when you're married. And then that's weird that suddenly your pregnancy becomes a part of him. You're like, I'm sorry, he's not pregnant. It's me. I'm carrying the human.
I'm carrying this.
He is not. Why is it suddenly a we? But when it comes to women, there were so often times where they would say, she went and got herself pregnant. Like, what the fuck? That was normal phrasing.
Because
she didn't make the whole baby herself.
Captured it. And like, what?
Like,
and
if I could have a kid and made it all myself, I would have already.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have to deal with a dude.
And that's actually bringing it back to our conversation, why I hate that trope that shows up so often in movies, is like the woman having the baby with the man who got her pregnant and like trying to live her life and falling in love with another man who's the father and the complications from the old father. Stop normalizing this bullshit that women all want to have this baby.
In those movies, the father who came back or whatever, there's always like a lesson. Oh, you have to forgive him. Oh, the mistakes of the past, blah, 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 blah. And the guy's like, oh, I've changed, but he doesn't show anything. Like, we have to believe the dialogue saying that he changed, but we don't see any action.
Yeah.
But there's always a lot, and like, and if you were a good person, you would forgive him. Blah blah blah. And in the end, the person decides to be a good person and forgive him. But another thing is the portrayal of deciding if you want to keep the baby, or abortion, or this person got an abortion at some point. In media in general, or well, mainstream media more than anything, it's always something that makes me very uncomfortable, because they never handle it well, in my opinion.
Well, no, because it's always like, because here's the thing, they don't actually ever get in touch. Like a woman like me, I am 40 years old. If there's several reasons why I wouldn't attempt to carry a child to term at this age. One, I don't want to. Let's start with number one. I don't want to. Number two, health wise, it would be very risky for the baby and myself. There's zero reason for me to do that. So my decision is this fast. I'm not going to sit here and like dwell over it. I'm literally going to be like, I'm pregnant. Well, it's gone. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Not because I'm hateful or anything like, but because I know that trying to carry a child to term, that's not a good plan for my body or myself. You know, the baby won't do well. I won't do well. So it's like, they really need to normalize the idea that many women know that, one, they don't even want children. So that decision would not be something that they're like, oh, I just don't know. I mean, I know I never wanted kids, but now suddenly, no, there's a large amount of women that don't want children. And should they find out that they're pregnant, would immediately be like, well, that's not going to happen. I did everything I could to make this not happen. Still happening. And I'm finished. Like, no, I don't want to have a baby.
Always, or almost always, oh, this woman had an abortion, so she only cares about herself and is so selfish and so cold and so this and so that, blah, blah, blah. Or this woman had an abortion, she died.
Yes, that's my favorite.
As
my
Katie
favorite
said,
trope is
can
like
we see
I
some-
died in childbirth.
Yeah. It's like, can we see some happy portrayals of abortion, please? Especially when you're younger, as she said, when I was going to do it at 18. Like,
again, not
yes,
to
it's
be
always a regretful thing.
Record, but there are good portrayals of women who had abortions in romance novels.
Romance novels. Well, yeah, because there's always a regret factor, right? Like anytime a woman has done this in any movie, for the most part, she inevitably, night Anita, she inevitably has like some regrets about and they just don't really show the woman who's like, I'm glad I didn't do that.
Yeah, there's always that for the man who at first either agreed or he didn't agree, but she did it anyway. He punishes her because she had an abortion and she's a terrible person, blah, 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 blah. And then at the same time, we are supposed to root for the couple because he's a good person. And well, he has the right to be upset, but she told him she didn't want kids.
Yeah.
And she told him that if she got pregnant, she was going to have an abortion. It's not something new to him. And he was supposed to love her the way she is or whatever. There's always some speech like that in mainstream media, like, oh, no matter what you do, no matter what you tell me. And then like a scene later, the guy is like, no, but how could you do this to me? And I'm like, but you told her 5 minutes ago that you loved her the way she was. And that you understood her. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
and well,
like, I'm sorry, Alex was saying, I understand the dramatization of abortion. I actually don't understand the dramatization. And the reason I don't is because they're normalizing this idea that everybody is hemming and hawing. And they're really pushing a narrative of there's a hemming and a hawing. And for most of them, eventually she chooses to have this baby. And that is the problem with it. Yeah. That you're supposed to have a feeling, and then you eventually go, all right, I'm gonna just have this baby. I stopped watching Sex Education because there was a super cringy moment, and I couldn't I got stuck there. It was like an actual cringe moment that I knew was going to happen, and I was like, I cannot be subject to this. Like, it's embarrassing. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment. But this is something that happens in so many movies. Like even that show that was on forever, like 16 and Pregnant, but not that. Secret Life of a Teenager or whatever, and she ends up pregnant. The whole, because all the dramatization is used to basically show that she will choose to have the baby. That's why I don't like the dramatization, because
No,
it's
I
used
hate
as
the
a tool for her to be
Yeah,
like,
and
okay, I'm gonna have a baby. Like I've had all these questions with all these people who aren't my parents or aren't my friends and like whatever, and like now I'm gonna have a baby and now I'm gonna go tell my parents I'm pregnant. That's not realistic.
No.
Most people who do that are not interested in having a conversation with their parents about it. Like not because they're not close to their parents, but because they just want to like end that chapter of their life and move on.
And so Alex also said dramatization in the sense that it's trying to portray it's a big decision. But here's the thing is, and some people might say I'm heartless. I don't think it's a big decision. I
It's
think that
not.
there are a lot of women that, just like you said, it's never a question. They just do it. I would love to see
you have the
more movies and
conviction.
TV shows just like show it as like it's like going to the doctor. It's like
Yeah.
going for a checkup. You went, you had a procedure done because it was what was necessary in the timeline because you have no desire for children. You're not in a relationship to have
No, sir.
children. You don't have the money. All
Yeah,
these things. Just I don't want them. It's
that
like I'm tired of it being like, oh, as soon as you get pregnant, you're gonna love the baby that's already growing inside of you, and it's gonna be so hard to decide. And
I would
yeah.
be
Here's
disgusted. Like,
in real life, I feel like in real life, the person who dramatize the situation are the people around the person who had the abortion.
yes,
Like
yes,
I'm going to give a concrete example here because I don't think these people are going to watch this live or that they speak English. Either way, my cousin was living with his girlfriend for a while, and neither of them wanted kids, but she got pregnant. So one day, my aunt called my mom to ask her if she knew someone because here abortion you have to do it on the DL,
yeah,
sadly. And my mom actually did. But I remember her saying like, oh, but why is she going to have an abortion? Like, my mom disagrees, but if you need one, she's going to help you. But
yeah.
the people who knew, because it was like a secret, very, very few people knew about my cousin and his girlfriend and what happened. See this as such a terrible thing that they did, and like, why couldn't they have kept the baby? Because they both make so much money and have such good jobs. If you are not in the mindset or the conviction to be a parent, it's better to not be a parent because your child is going to suffer in the end.
Yes.
So
Like there's people I know who should not have children because especially when you're young. Here I'm going to just be honest. I think that a lot of young people shouldn't have children because they end up quite resentful of the fact that their own youth has been taken from them.
Yep.
And a lot of them are doing it for the wrong reasons. They think that they're going to make this happy family and all this, but then the dude bails and there's not a happy family, or they're together and they're fighting all the time, and it just doesn't work out the way that they thought it was going to. Meanwhile, all their friends around them are partying.
When I was in school, like very young, and one of our classmates was pregnant, and she was like, oh, this is so great because I'm a grown-up now because I'm going to be a mother. And that's not enough to have a kid.
Yeah, and they don't realize like the implications of like, because I think a lot of them think that their moms are gonna babysit and do all this stuff, and when the reality smacks them in the face, and mom's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that all the time. Like, I have a life too. I am a grown-ass adult. I already had all my children. You all grew up. I don't plan on having any more. That was like the plan. That's why I got my tubes tied. Now you've had a child. The end of the day is like, you've made a decision poorly. Now you have to deal with it, because they look around, they see their other 20-something-year-old friends going out, clubbing, partying, drinking, having a good time, and they can't do that, and they start getting mad about it. And granted, they still love their children. I'm never going to say that they don't. They love their children, but there is a resentment there because they don't get to live this life.
Maybe they don't blame the kid, but they blame the situation, and they're like, oh, maybe I should have. There's always like the maybe I should have waited because
But
in my class in high school we had four classmates that got pregnant, or one already had a child when she moved to our school, and that classmate, the one who had already had a child and she had been expelled from the other school for having a baby or for getting pregnant in the first place, when I talked to her years later out of high school, she's like, I love my kid, but I wish I had waited because
Yes.
now I know so much more. Now
Yeah.
I have more life experience. I can give my kids so much more.
And this is why you see women who had children young having like a resurgence of their youth in their late 30s and 40s because they missed it. So now here they are, 40, being like, woo, yeah, because they didn't get to experience it. So like me, I always indulge those ladies because I'm like, yeah, fuck it, have a good time, lady. Like, I get it.
Yeah, do yeah. But I also think that even if they're not saying, oh, I hate my kids, most adults in this world are not emotionally mature or in therapy having conversations to not pass that resentment on towards their kids, to not push it onto their kids in some way. And they don't mean to for a lot of parents, but they do it. And that's where I'm like, I don't care if you still say you love your kids. If you are putting those feelings out there, your kids are picking up on that. And so when you have a really shitty relationship with your kids in the future, when they become adults and then they're like, oh, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know,
this is something that is very prevalent in my country because we don't really deal with our issues in a healthy manner because so many families are like, oh, but that isn't real. They don't believe in mental illness. They don't believe that you need mental health. Like, I'm not saying by any means that you guys are so much better because I know, I mean, healthcare is super expensive there.
It's very expensive.
And mental health services are also trash. But you guys at least have the idea of therapy more incredible. Like here, therapy is like when we used to watch American movies, are like, why are all these people going to therapy? Like, that is ridiculous. This has to be like a rich people thing. Americans are so weird. And it's like, no, therapy is the best thing you can do.
It is.
Well, it is still kind of a rich people thing for Americans because so few of us have healthcare that covers it. But we have those conversations.
At least
even if you have insurance, so here's the thing about therapy in the US. Most therapists will not accept insurance, but there's a specific reason why. It is because most insurance will only cover like between 3 and 5 sessions. So therapists do not want to accept that because they do not want the patient to pay a $20 copay and then have to be bumped up to a $50, $100, $150 amount that they're not going to be able to afford. So they would rather negotiate a cost that you can afford up front and be able to, and most therapists they will negotiate. Like if you can only afford $50 a session, they will negotiate that $50 a session with you, but insurance doesn't allow that. And then they have to basically, because the insurance isn't paying them shit. And then it's a very difficult slope for them to go, okay, well, I know that you were paying $20 to see me the last time, but now you have to pay $50. Most people didn't account for that $30 gap. So suddenly it's just too difficult for them to do. So most therapists will not accept insurance for your health, not for their pocket. They would much rather tell you like up front, okay, I'm not going to accept insurance. You can also, if you have a flexible spending account, you can, I'll give you receipts and everything, and then you can get reimbursed for it. But they don't want to take the insurance because it's going to be too much. Thorne, I found somebody who did it for like $75 and it was awesome. But like you really have to like be able to work with somebody who's going to negotiate, because they just, and I get it. I wouldn't be a therapist who took insurance either, because it's hard to tell somebody who you're getting through to, by the way, your insurance is no longer paying. So like, if you still want my help, you're going to need to do this. It's easier just to start from the jump and be like, okay, well, we can do $100, and is it something that you can afford? And then when you're like, yeah, I can afford that, then you're like, okay, $100, and you see them monthly, or you see them every 2 weeks, or whatever it is that you can afford to do, but they negotiate a fee that's good for you and them. So,
because I think most therapists want this to be a long-term relationship, because they've realized that's what that on a business side, it is what's making them money. But at the same time, because no one is fixed in 5 sessions.
Yeah,
correct.
If you have made the choice to seek out a therapist, it's not going to be done in 5 sessions.
Yeah, you can how long it's going to take for one person to overcome their issues that they went to the therapist for in the first place. Yeah. For some people, might take a year. For others, it might take many, many years.
Yeah. And add to that, it can be extremely damaging if they open up a door and can't continue to treat you for the rest of that. If something gets open, like I had 2 good therapists out of the 5, but 2 really good ones. And the 2 really good ones both were like, yeah, listen, whatever happened when you were kidnapped by your father, strongly suggest you don't even actually mess with that, because whatever it was, your memory has in fact packed that away, and not every memory needs to be unpacked. And this is something that a lot of people don't want to accept a lot of times, but it's true. There's things your brain protects you against regularly. Like, I would not be willing to get back on a motorcycle if my brain hadn't done the shit it needed to do to downplay what happened in my motorcycle accident. Like, it just like, I crashed my motorcycle at 45 miles an hour, and my brain shut all of that down. I was like, it's fine, just get on a bike again. And I was like, cool, thanks brain. And I continued to ride. But if my brain hadn't done the things it needed to do to protect me from that, I would not be able to ride. And the same thing happens with trauma. There's a level of stuff that your brain, especially when you were young, takes care of. As an adult, this is one of the reasons why, like, women who are assaulted, or people who are assaulted, often describe like a floating feeling where they left their body, because that's essentially your brain going like, that's not happening to you, and shutting that down. Because like, one, everybody can't afford therapy. Most of us also know we're not going to report it. So like, your brain does what it can to protect you from that harmful incident that happened in your life, shuts it down, and you move on.
Good night, Alex.
Night, Alex. Also, I'm going to go pee, guys. I'll be back.
Okay.
Oh, I need to
I do think
blanket.
Are you grabbing your blanket? Is that what that was? I don't blame you. When it's cold in my apartment, I'm like, I want everything cuddled up around me. All of the things. I love it. So in the chat, talking about how praying the gay away is still a thing.
Oh.
And then we're talking about praying the extra 20 pounds away. And T, how many Hail Marys do I need to do to get rid of my cellulite? Oh, yeah. And yes, the repressed memories.
When you have a problem, and it's like a really big problem, and people are like, but you need to pray. And I'm like, I'm actually religious, and I actually pray for people when things happen to them, but I'm not going to demand other people pray. Because
no, exactly.
They probably believe it doesn't work.
Also, like, I need some more immediate fixes. Like, if you want to let people pray for me, if you have people in your network, that's cool. But like, I need actionable steps on how to make this shit show of a life better.
Look, unless Jesus comes back for real and comes to my house and actually performs a miracle, that is not going to help me. I'm sorry.
But also, that's fine because he forgives everything according to religious people. So I'm good. He'll just perform his miracles. I'll be good to go. I'll ask for forgiveness. This is coming from a very not religious person where I'm just like, I'm spiritual a little bit, but I'm not religious. I don't believe a lot of that. So
he's a lot more chill than his fans
yeah,
him out to be. So like, oh, you don't believe? That's okay. You're still a person I found cool, so I'm going to help you anyway.
Keisha's in the chat like, I know a few Jesuses. Yeah, I mean, there's a few of them out there. Feed me bread and banish my stretch marks. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, can we feast and you can get rid of all of our perceived flaws?
Like, if he wants to come here and multiply my food and give me wine because I always forget about buying it, that would be cool.
I'm now going to take a bathroom break. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, be free. I'm like, I had a whole incident because I'm wearing rompers. I was concerned. I was like, I really have to pee and I have buttons. Let's see how this works out. But yeah, I mean,
I'm drinking very slowly because.
But Fefy, you know, like I will tell you and you know everybody on the shoot, there's a specific reason that they've moved the language, that they continuously try to move the language, especially specifically when it comes to assault. Instead of saying victim of assault, they want to say survivor. The real reason that they want to say survivor isn't because suddenly I'm stronger. The real reason they want to say survivor is because they want to remove the onus from the man. It's just the patriarchy at work. So basically he gets to go, I mean, well, she survived. So like,
yeah.
Did I do anything wrong? No, I mean, she's okay. Like nothing's wrong with her. So I will continuously say a victim because I was victimized. Like while I survived, I was still victimized, and I don't consider myself a survivor of assault. I consider myself a victim of assault, and I'm really quite happy that I have made it this far, that I'm as adjusted as I can be. But I'm not going to allow language to move so that it makes me happier. Oh my gosh, Miss Kelsey. She was spilling some tea today, but not too much tea. She spilled a little tea, but not all the tea. I saw you in there, Fefy. She was spilling some tea, but like she was like, I'm gonna spill a little tea, but like not all the tea. Like fuck this, because you know what? Actually, that brings me to another thing I hate. Why women have to be portrayed as hating each other and everything.
Oh, I have something on my notes about.
Yes, get the notes, girl, because that makes me angry. I'm like,
talked about the whole cheating thing. It's the man's fault and everything. But and actually, this is one that I wrote the same way I would say it. So I'm probably just going to read it. Like this was point number 4. It says,
thank you, T.
I'm sorry, but most cheating storylines are garbage, especially the ones where it's a man cheating.
Yeah.
Because the wife or girlfriend always takes it out on the other woman instead of her man. And this is my other point, which is like, if I never have to read a bunch of white women on Twitter going, yes, queen, at a fellow white woman for being sassy at the mistress and calling her names, it will be too fucking soon.
You are correct, because that shit, but like the very idea and that also, we continuously do that and say, oh, let's go after the woman. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on now.
And
he had a ring on his finger.
Adding to that, why the fuck are you just queening a white woman like Carol? calm down. Calm down, Carol.
Well, it is. It's a weird sense, right?
You're like,
Because it's like, oh, your man
it's
cheats,
fantastic.
and
It's such a good example. Feminist icon who's calling another woman a slut and a whore because he slept with her
Oh my
husband.
god.
Like,
yeah, I'm like, there's nothing feminist about that. I'm like, listen, if you want to be a feminist, then you need to get your man, because your man is the one who had an obligation to be with
also,
you.
like,
Chose
they are calling the
to
wife,
step out.
the girlfriend, the woman scorned, a feminist icon, and so independent, and such a boss, and so this, and so that, and so that. But she is still pining for his trash, cheating, lying, gross husband who isn't even that cute anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, because it again that pushes back into that, like, females competing against each other, because I really think that specifically women who enjoy taking men, that is a competition. They're allowing the patriarchal competition to take over, and they're thinking that they're better than this woman because they were able to steal this man. Well, listen, girl, like, have him then, because like, I just don't want somebody that I have to do this with on the regular. Like, you can have him, enjoy, like, and that's what I get from guys that I date, where I will do that. I'm like, bye.
And I kind of feel like it ties into what T is saying here. This is often what really happens when you catch your friend's man cheating and you go tell your friend. There's a high possibility she will blame you.
Yep.
And I think that all ties together of this, like, women being pitted up against each other to compete.
And
so the other woman is always
another one
enemy.
that has levels, by the way. This is another one that has levels, because it's like, start with the high school movie in which the nerdy girl and the head cheerleader are fighting for the job.
Yeah.
And the guy maybe is dating one of them, maybe is not dating either of them, but they both want him, and he's the prize.
Yeah,
and
like he is a prize. She is not.
And the nerdy girl thinks the cheerleader is terrible and the worst because she wants the job, and the cheerleader thinks the nerdy girl is terrible for the same reason. And maybe in another circumstance they could be friends even.
Yeah, because it's like,
doesn't allow it.
And Nusha even said it, women versus women is a real thing. I see it in corporate America. Instead of lifting each other up, I've seen women I work with push each other down. Meanwhile, I have my eyes on my own paper. And that's so important, especially like as a YouTuber in the beauty space. And that's why I made that comment where I'm like, I'm not going to really be canceling women. Like, you have to do a lot of shit for me to cancel you, but I'm not really going to be canceling women because there are men in the space doing far worse than most of the women.
Yeah, and
I'm not down for it. I'm not going to like throw women under the bus. That's why I've expressed multiple times. That's the real reason that I was like, man, Tati, that's some weak ass shit. Because I said, like, I will always say, for people who don't believe in racism, I'll pull that out for you. A woman decided not to take the side of another woman who was correct and took the side of a man. And now look what's happened to her. So that's the kind of stuff where I look at that and I go, as women, we need to lift each other up. It's why you will see me on the regular trying to do what I can to lift women up. I don't think that, I feel like there's more than enough space, not just on this platform, but in the world for us to all coexist. And if we worked together instead of against each other, we would be doing far better. So I don't see that there's anything wrong. And I think that especially when it comes to, you know, having a channel and all that kind of stuff, that's why a lot of us are very meek about saying we have a channel on larger creators platforms, because we don't want them to feel like they have to silence us, because we know how women behave. So as a general rule, like, I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna like say anything. I'm just gonna do my thing over here in the corner. And then like, if they want to say something about me, they can, but like, they don't have to, because I don't want them to feel like I'm trying to take their shine.
Because we're trained to not take up space.
Sometimes I talk to people and I'm like, ooh, maybe I'm intruding. Maybe they're going to take it the wrong way. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that we're taught as women to silence ourselves and make ourselves smaller. And so that kind of goes right into the competitive part of it, where it's like, okay, then if you do enter the space of another woman and you basically announce yourself and you're like, oh, actually, I have a channel, then I feel like sometimes the bigger creator or other people in the audience are going to be like, who the fuck are you? This is so-and-so space. This isn't Audra space. This isn't Emily space. Get out of here. And it's like, but she asked if we had channels. Leave a comment. Like, it's that kind of shit where you get asked, like, hey, channel out. I want to, like, support the community. And then it's like, when women do that, it's like, get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants you. And it's like,
or they'll even be sitting
the
there talking about it. Like, they'll be talking about, like, the difficulties of having a channel. And you'll throw in your 2 cents being like, yeah, like right now there's so many people currently, because like Abby Williamson had tweeted out, like, can we normalize not asking creators to buy shit? Especially in the beauty sphere, like, please normalize not asking creators to buy shit because we're not made of money. And unless you guys are going to like send the shit to us, like, we just can't afford to buy every new makeup release that comes out. We just can't.
Yeah.
And the amount of people underneath who commented and were like, yeah, you know, I find this annoying. And the good thing is, because Abby is who she is, she's not sitting there like, this is about me. So like everybody under the comments, you know, had a voice, right? Whereas I feel like there are other creators where had they said that and people were having the same conversation underneath, that people would have been antagonizing them, being like, nobody cares about your weak ass little channel. I don't even know who you are. I've never heard of you. Like, no.
Yeah. I mean, Pastel Skeletor went off on fans of him for saying less on his tweets. Like,
oh yeah, if he put something out there and somebody was like, oh my god, I love you and I did this look with your palette, he's like, don't, like, just like roast them, like skins them, glaze them, and it's like, oh well, he's just chat.
That video Nisa made about with weird makeup advertising, in which she mentions that situation, it was like, why did he destroy that poor kid for no reason? He just posted a picture.
Yeah, I mean, this is, so in this space, I'll tie this all back together. Like, we'll finish, here's Thor saying, instead of asking creators to buy everything, send them everything. Not like we have to go. I just want to like tie it all, and then we can just talk about whatever we want.
I appreciate that though. But yeah, like, if y'all want me to review something and you want to send it to me, that's how I will review certain things. a
lot of creators have a PO box. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because this lands in that stupid shit that people believe happens. I don't think enough people understand that smaller channels are not getting all the PR. We're not getting all the releases. We're not getting all the shit. So that being said, if you're wanting somebody to reduce, like, oh my God, the new Gucci's coming, are you going to review it? But like, bitch, I don't have Gucci money. If you insist, like, you're going to need to send that, because Gucci don't send that to me.
I think the other big part of that, I don't even think it's the PR. I think it's that, and we've talked about this before, and I've gone into like AdSense money. I don't think people understand how little AdSense you get as a small creator, because I think not getting PR is clear, because we're not doing PR hauls. We're not posting photos of PR unless we get PR, generally speaking. But I think realizing that, like, yeah, if I want to buy, let's say, that Gucci bronzer, that's a month of AdSense on a really good month.
Yeah.
Which was when I posted my Dane Charleston video. Like, I got like people
are like, oh, but why can't you buy the thing? Don't you get money for doing
YouTube? And you're like, there are videos where you're like, I literally made like $1.85. Like, I don't think that you realize
it's not a joke.
And I think that a lot of that, it's not necessarily their faults, because they see larger creators who have big followings and all this stuff. When you see these creators who have 500,000 subscribers, who have 300,000 subscribers, it's very easy to like view all of YouTube as the same because it's essentially it's like watching TV. I don't fault people for that. I do understand that there is a level of like us having to explain to people that like I can't buy all the things. That's why I consistently say, don't come to my channel for all the new releases because my ass will not have all of them. Like that's not what's going to happen. One, because I'm not interested in a lot of it, but two, I'm just not going to have the capital or the time to do all of that.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not like the amount of new releases that come out. I'm just not going to have the time. Even currently, this is my full-time job, but I'm still not going to have the time to go over every new release and have a video with all of that shit. Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and as a viewer, watching a new release video with a person who actually didn't want to review that thing.
Oh God.
You can tell. You
Yeah.
can tell. They're like, oh, I really didn't want to buy it, but you guys asked.
Yeah, I mean,
I've reviewed
like I was like that with
something
Natasha
that a
Dota. I was like,
subscriber. Yeah, like a subscriber sent me, actually speaking of Tachi, the Blendiful. They wanted to send me, so I did a video about it. And it was an interesting learning experience where there's things out there where I'm like, if somebody's like, oh, I really want to send this to you so you can review it, I would still look critically because I have to figure out if I can like enjoy that process. And I think that, I think there was a good comment, but then I just lost it. But I just think that it doesn't it's about the new releases. It's fine. It doesn't need to be highlighted. But that's the problem too, is like nobody has to send me shit. Like whether it's PR or like subscribers. Like nobody has to send me anything. But the problem is that new releases are what get the most clicks. Videos about new releases, whether it's reviews or roundups or whatever. So that's why even as smaller YouTubers, even though we don't like do the same formats of videos that a lot of bigger YouTubers do, still kind of fall in that trap of like, oh, but it would be nice, like if I want something, buying it right away. Like I bought the Drench Cosmetics, their new palette, on pre-order, not the first day it opened, but like because I was like, I'm curious to try it, it's on pre-order, let me just grab it and then I'll do a video. But if I was a normal non-YouTuber, I would still buy it, but probably on a different timeline. So I actually really appreciate you, Kelsey and Alicia, kind of setting this tone of like, I'm buying this because I'm interested in it. Like I feel like both of you have kind of like dug your heel in a good way with that conversation as a creator, to say, and like Alicia was talking about how she's investing in her getting new laptop, new camera. But even if you're not investing back into your channel, you've worked your ass off for years. And now you're at this point where you're like, you know what? I'm going to get the things I'm actually excited about, and everything else can just flow on by.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, and here's the other thing too that I keep in mind. Like, first of all, piggyback on Emily, yes, because we do need bigger channels like Kelsey and Alicia Kinky Sweat to actually say, to like dig their heel, because it seems like I'm being a bitch when I have like 4,000 and some shade subscribers being like, I'm not here for new releases. Like, don't come here for that because that's not what I'm going to be able to provide you with. Because listen, I can't afford everything that's new. I can't buy Tom Ford every time it comes the fuck out. Are you guys serious? But then the other side of it too is it's just when we're looking at this through the sphere of like makeup comes out so much. And Kelsey was talking about this tonight in her live. There's so much makeup that comes out. None of us can get all of it, right? And then realistically, I am not going to always be first, and I'm not going to bust my ass trying to be first. And that's where I would like, to me, I'm like, I'd rather play with something, although I played with this one thing for enough. And I'm like, okay, we won't talk about it.
A lot of, oh, I have to be fair first, and people like rushing in to post.
Yeah.
It's a first impression. It's not I'm not saying it's not a well-rounded review in all cases, but in most cases, it could be. So it's better to wait a bit to try the product more,
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing, the more time I get to spend with it, like there's stuff even now that I can look back at like bops and flops from the beginning of the year where I'm like, I don't like that shit anymore. I liked it a little bit at the time, but like Tropicat was saying, I think it's super sad to see videos like older releases that are still on my wish list and they just never buy the things they really want to buy because they're spending money on things that get views. Yeah. That's actually why I didn't buy as much Black-owned brands as I had wanted to previously, because I felt a lot of pressure to have like the newest shit. And it's so like I just had to go, that's not who I am. I'm not going to have the newest shit. And when I do have it, it's going to be old, but I will have played with it for a while. And when I'm reviewing it, you're getting a review from someone who's like, I played for this for a while. This is not a first impression. I've been using this for 3 months. This is my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, or I've been using this for weeks. I've put it through all these tests.
Yeah.
This is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the kind of content I'm there for. So I make stuff that I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can tell in those videos, you can tell that you actually cared about the product, and this wasn't something that you just put together because it would get more views or whatever. You can tell that you put effort into it.
Yeah.
And those reviews are great because they're very informative.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, this whole like sending somebody a product to review. And I think that, so T is talking about how she doesn't feel like it makes sense. I think that it's better to say so she said it's one thing to send as a gift, but to send in exchange for a review makes 0 sense. Correct. Because theoretically that person could just buy the product themselves. I do think as a subscriber, as somebody that wants to gift a content creator that you like a product, I think being kind about saying this is a gift, like, and even being honest, like, I would love to see you review this, but it's still a gift, I think is a key perspective on like how to approach it.
Yeah. And to give you a little context, they were talking about Angelica. Somebody had sent her a J-Star palette to review, even though she had said repeatedly she doesn't review his shit. And so they thought that they would just send that to her and make her do it. And she's like, no.
Yeah. But in the opposite way of like, okay, if you're a person who you've decided, I'm not sure if I want, let's say, the vanilla clean at 0. I'm not sure if I want it, but you know what? I want to send it to Emily and hear her opinion. The reason why I do understand that is because basically what you're doing is like, it's like you're a patron. You're, instead of maybe monthly donating to me, you've decided I'm going to send you a product. And it might help your channel. It might help you put out a review, especially if it's a newer product that maybe you weren't going to buy right away. So that's why I understand it. I understand it as like a...
They are messing with me today. Oh my God. Yeah. So Fefy, for you, Yolanda had said Audra winning WrestleMania to test foundation. And then Keisha came in and said, Audra, a jackhammer, a foundation review. Thorin came in, Audra testing foundation on the lip of a volcano. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I love you guys so much. But it's true, because like, listen, I am weird. Like, I am so intense about my Audra Torres from the Grave Foundation review, literally casket ready. I cannot.
Also, the only thing limited edition is Keisha's patience.
Yeah, because and the funny thing is, when I first started reviewing like older shit, I really thought that I wasn't going to get views. What I started to find was that people were interested in it because people wanted to know what happened to it, or were like considering buying it at some later date. And and your video starts to come up if it's been a year.
You're always like, oh, I just started to try this. I will tell you more later, and later never comes. What did you say?
Audra skydiving, it really stinks.
Well, and the reason I'm so intense, y'all know, but the reason I'm so intense is because, like, man,
swimming with sharks.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I got intense about foundation because I'm generally intense about it anyway. it is like this becomes your main face product. Like your eyeshadow and all that, like you could just choose not to wear it, right? But if you're going to market your foundation with all of this stuff, whether channel Audra in a class 5 hurricane, this foundation looks fab. I can't stand you guys.
Yolanda, 10,000 leagues under the sea. Audra means waterproof.
A lot of foundations make super ridiculous claims, so
it's fair. It's a fair balance.
Yeah, they're like,
yeah, because they claim all of this insanity. Yeah, I mean, any foundation that says it lasts past like 12 hours, like shut the fuck up. No one needs foundation that long.
Yeah,
no one.
Also,
no one.
Can brands stop putting 24-hour? Like that means you go to bed with makeup on, and that's gross and bad for you. So why do you want people to have their makeup on for 24 hours?
Nusha, I caught that,
this
by
is
the
what
way.
I've been saying. Oh, I'll show it. But this is what I was saying. So Atelier said people also choose to watch you not because you were first with the product. This is what I've been saying about you, Audra, for months. People are going to watch you because they love you. Audra in the Australian book, Wrestling Crocodiles and Keeping the Dingo from Her Foundation. Y'all. And T gives some good advice. There's a sweet spot with algorithms where you're really early and it helps you build momentum, or you're late but most recently uploaded and that gives you some juice. YouTube is strange. I also think,
you know what, that's what I use.
I don't know
is that late. I use the late area because
but
typically
here's the other thing. Oh, I was gonna say, here's the other thing is if you're keeping an eye on brands, sometimes if something is limited edition and they're gonna come back with a cycle of it, and you've been working on your review, just time it for that. A couple days before they restock. Like I know Kaleidos was doing one last restock of like their turquoise palette. Sometimes that's when people are going to be looking because they're like, oh, it's going away. Should I get it?
I'm so sad about that.
So
I think we're all like, I was like, oh, but I'm also curious as to what they're going to make next. Survive bar broth. Actually, my foundation has survived some bar broth. My foundation has survived sweating and dancing.
The thing to me with the Kaleidos palette is that those palettes have numbers. So now if they release more palettes in the series, there's going to be a gap between the numbers.
I mean, I find that because like for me, I don't like to be first on the scene because I just like I filmed my Oasis review and there's a huge part of it. Like I honestly have to go back and like fix it because I was like, I gotta be first. And then I was just like, first isn't really what I do. So I just like, I have to actually go back and refilm some parts of it because I feel like I was like, I wasn't being myself to a degree. And and I just don't, I ended up like not really liking, like I like the look and all of that stuff. I just don't like how it went down because for me, I like to be able to play with something a little bit and have some fun and actually enjoy it instead of feeling like I got to get this up. So here are the swatches and here's this and let's go, let's get started. And I do, for the most part, like to be a person who the first time I try something is on camera, but there's going to be rare instances where I have to refilm. This is one of them because I felt like I was just like rushing to be like, I'm first with it, I'm first. And like, if I have to just do it live, I'll do it live, but I prefer not to have that first feeling. Top 9 foundations for $69. Well, if you need a foundation that's not going to go anywhere, but it's also going to make you look like a decrepit old lady, Jouer. Jouer is going to stay the fuck on your face. Jouer is going to stay on your face. It ain't going nowhere. No.
I think this is a great series, though. Can you fuck it? Can you fuck it? Sorry.
We should have made that review of the Jouer foundation.
Oh.
Texas quesadilla accent.
Like, if you want a foundation that literally even the goddess herself cannot get it off your face, Jouer.
Sure.
So earlier, Yolanda mentioned,
all the
can a
extra
foundation
to get it on your face.
survive an entanglement? Do a foundation entanglement duration test.
I can tell you, Uma does. Uma survives entanglements.
Ooh.
Also, I agree with Keisha. Get sponsored, T, with this
I
Can You
know.
Fuck in It series. Quesadilla accident.
Yeah. If you put your Uma
That
on
thing
just
made me
right,
laugh so
little bit
much
of
when you
zero.
Taco sauce resistant foundation. Or
Tacos.
carrot juice resistant foundation.
So here's a fun thing about foundation. If you think you're going to be getting a little saucy, don't put it around your mouth, dear. Okay. Use concealer around the mouth, but no foundation, okay? Then it doesn't break up. If no foundation breaks up when you're going to work.
See, this is why you can actually trust Audra's review of foundation, because she does many tests.
I like tea.
Look, I can't imagine that other YouTubers think of those tests.
But also, if you are brown, don't mess with people who have white sheets. First of all, they're demons. But it doesn't matter what foundation you use. You're going to have them skid marks on there, and that's not right.
I like that. Which foundation eyeshadow is best for rolling your eyes a lot?
Huh? What did it?
Can your foundation withstand? Oh, Keisha said, which foundation / eyeshadow is best for rolling your eyes a lot? And then T, can this foundation withstand a shot to the face? Let's find out.
And my
Milan's
spirit
has left her body. I like how you're like, just no foundation here. Just skip it. It's fine.
It is like,
just skip
listen,
it and you'll be
if
good.
you think that things are going to get a little freaky deaky, use a little concealer, but no foundation, because the foundation will crack around your mouth works.
Hmm.
And that is a lesson from a lady who knows.
Like,
From someone with experience.
I actually wish people said that instead of the bullshit about the smile lines when they don't even have wrinkles.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
so the idea
of what you're doing, we're not judging you.
yeah, because like the very myth that nothing's gonna lay in your wrinkles and your lines, it's all going to lay there. Like no matter what it is, it's going to dip into your fine lines. Every single foundation I've ever had dips into my fine lines.
Yeah,
the main issue is how deep is it going? Is it going to where you look like a sad sea witch at the end?
When I watch a
no, Keisha,
and they say it doesn't even settle on my lines, I'm like, oh, so
what lines?
Black? So either you don't have lines, or the people who do, so like the foundation is plastic.
Yeah, because the only time I complain about that is if it's like making me look like a sea witch,
or
and then I'm like, oh fuck.
Audra dispensing nuggets of wisdom, but they don't quite fit in my virgin ears. Let's just say I wanted to go back to Alex mentioned eyeshadow skid marks. That can happen during certain activities, according to Alex. So yeah. Taking notes. OnlyFans 2020, Yolanda. Okay, Yolanda.
That is.
Oh no, that's not the kind of smudges that were left. It was not mascara.
No, this is what I'm saying. The eyeshadow, and you. This is when you start getting waterproof shit to spritz over your face.
Oh, sorry.
Also, waterproof mascara, waterproof eyeliner. Okay. You got to be ready
Kelsey
for.
Saying. So Kelsey said, T, I'm weak right now. I literally thought of that before. It would be completely unique. Somebody needs to do it. You got this. Like
Freak Fest is not
best
like
lipsticks
colorful
for blowjobs.
Yeah.
Best foundation. Yeah.
Some of the a really good lipstick for the BJ is actually the Marc Jacobs, because it just stays on pretty good, and once it like gets good and dry on your lips, like it's a good time.
Marc Marc Jacobs going away.
Keisha said, Thorn, do people say virgin ears because it's the only holes that are virgin?
As you all know, I am a child of the Lord. But this advice is very important for life, just in case. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why I even made
good ideas.
Mo, what did you say?
Mo said that needs to be one of the Brown Girl series, like Keisha and T and Tina and Alicia, when they did T did pastels for Brown
amazing.
Yes.
That is a whole big collab. Audra needs to be in this collab.
Blowjobs for brown girls. Listen, anyways, this part of your mouth is a different color than the rest of your face anyhow. So it's not going to hurt you to not put foundation on it. Now get down there and get to work, girl. No. Yeah, T's apology video was fucking iconic on a whole other level.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Thorn coming through with the good information. Thorn said that implies that the nose is not virginal.
By the way, before
it is. It's
before the live, I was going to because I was so cold. I was going to put on a hoodie, and then I realized it was gray, and I was like, "Do I want to look like an apology video?" It was apology video gray. That exact shade.
I will definitely tell you this: the no makeup look, not for getting dirty. Okay, there's too much makeup on. There really is.
Yeah.
No. Oh, sorry.
Not for that. Also, colorful eyeshadow, not for Freak Fest. Okay. Don't put your face in the pillow, because your eyes will still be there when you're gone.
Or to a part of someone else's body.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, I smudged my blue eyeshadow on. Okay. Oh, that happened.
Yeah. Listen. I mean, brown girls know for sure, because we're just like, oops, sorry that your whole white shirt is now brown. So sorry.
I would like to point out, by the way, I don't know how long we have been here because I haven't been looking at the time.
3 horas.
But we have shown a lot of restraint because we just now started talking about this.
We have.
It took about 2.5 hours.
Talking about both, and it's like 15 minutes in, so we're doing amazing.
Ooh.
Audra
doing an entanglement after parachuting and landing on the volcano.
But Mo, listen, you can put your face in the pillow, just don't have the no makeup look on when you do so, because it's just, you're going to have your whole face in that pillow. When you leave, your face will still be looking at him.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Thor said, I have regrets. What regrets? Tell us your regrets.
Yeah, but at least if you leave your no makeup on his pillow, he's going to learn that picture of Rihanna or the Kardashians was actually makeup.
It's a lie.
Yeah. It
doesn't even look like you're wearing makeup. I am.
It wasn't a real woman, but who's wearing makeup.
T said, I have regrets, made me almost choke. Same. I was like, I need to know more about these regrets.
And one of them is named Frank.
It feels very loaded, very weighty.
Yeah, one of my regrets is actually named Frank, which is why I laugh every time T says, nobody asked you, Frank. I'm like, I didn't ask him. Why?
Why is it always a Frank? Because you're not the person who was told me this.
Franks are weird and
nobody
freaky.
named Frank is good.
No, they are not. I do not know why I hooked up with that weird dude. He was an Italianish guy.
Someone who is on a fandom where the character we all hate is named Frank. Don't confirm.
That Frank was a rough time. Literally, I got carpet burn from that.
Oh God, Mo said, I want to leave my face to remind him and warn the other women. That is quite
A reminder
the,
that I was here. Oh, I need to plug in the laptop.
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
love
oh.
this. Keisha said, we are all shapeshifters. They will deal. You got to get all these faces and hairstyles of 25 people. Agree. Shape-shifting is like what we do.
Yeah, like today I'm an exotic bird right now, and then I'm gonna wash my face and just be like a domestic housewife. That is a weird phrase. Like, let me be frank. And you're like, well then
As
can
T
I
said,
be
like,
Julia?
why are we Frank? Nobody asked Frank. I asked you, not Frank.
But I don't want to be frank. That guy's an asshole.
Okay, Thorne's regret, because I just went straight to I could put my dewy Vaseline covered face on any part of a person and not leave a mark because it's 11 o'clock and I am sleeping. Hey, the Vaseline face sounds like a perfect no makeup face for entanglements.
Oh,
Listen, I want to be Brenda. Keisha. Keisha's like, let me be Amanda.
Vaseline, by the way, Vaseline face is a good dupe for no color, no pigment, whatever virtual foundation. By
Listen,
so
I don't understand it because literally my Marc Jacobs fucking primer does that very thing. Like I put it on my face, I'm like, I can
It's just a primer.
Yeah.
If Becca had just called it a primer, we wouldn't be roasting them like a s'mores.
But they really didn't.
What the fuck is this? Bo, what are you watching?
Because Bo is watching it for sure.
Some shit.
He is like Bo actively watches TV.
Isn't Vaseline the new Becca foundation? Exactly.
Yeah. They were doing something, but they didn't. So because Vaseline.
That's right, Bella. Oh, my baby boy. Y'all, I'm probably gonna go here shortly because my little man is doing the absolute most. He's doing all of it.
It has been 3 hours and Bo's.
I didn't even feel it.
Sí, 3 horas.
We had a good time.
I really did. Fefy, you need to come back.
I didn't.
Yes.
I am coming back because I didn't even finish.
You're welcome anytime.
I know we have more. We'll do a part 2. Shit that annoys us. I mean,
we can be talking about this forever. I mean, even on individual points I have written here, I can speak for 3 hours alone. So there's a lot of subject here. But really,
I would also happily talk about like romance novels and get some, maybe preemptively get some recommendations from you, and then we can like talk about what we've watched or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious to dive into that world.
I can see Tina doing that. And like a clown, I bought the Becca Clear Foundation. Listen, y'all know.
I adore Tina so
I
much.
love Tina so much. Also, if you're not subscribed to Tina, you need to get subscribed. My goal is to get her to 100K this year. It's about damn time. The fancy face.
And
it's.
By the way,
go ahead,
I have another goal about YouTubers, which is take YouTubers that haven't gotten monetized yet to their watch hours.
Yes.
Number. I did this. I did this for Audra. I remember telling you that I was marathoning your videos.
Yes, like watch people's stuff, like really, because listen, and I've said this multiple times, there are creators where I don't want to watch what they're like. I'm uninterested.
Yesterday,
I'll put it on.
I watched a Neon MUA's review of the Kaleido.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he was like, and for a moment, I thought like maybe his ads don't work. Maybe, I don't, because sometimes I don't notice those things. And then he was like, please like and subscribe and watch so I can get monetized. And I'm like, he's not monetized?
He has more subscribers.
Oh,
No, he has just a little undermined. So yeah, we need to get people monetized. So like a big thing I'll do, like for instance, like Kelsey and Alicia and Karen Harris, like all these people reviewed the Natasha Denona palette. I'm so ridiculously uninterested in that palette. However, these are creators that I support, so I watch their videos.
Yeah.
Like there are things where people will put it out. I'm uninterested in it, but I will
Yes.
definitely like put the fucking time in to watch the video. Like even if I'm not physically watching it, I will put the shit on and like wash my brushes. And like that's what I'll do.
I can't afford or have access to buy the majority of the stuff that it's reviewed on YouTube, but I watch anyway because I want the person making the videos to do well.
Okay, you're good.
I just want to call out Mo's comment. Fefy is a force of nature. She was over in Kelsey's live sending people to me. We love Fefy in this house.
Guys, everyone has to go support Mo because the things that she has been going through are.
Yeah, I got to watch her video, but right before it was like reported, I guess, because I watched it this morning and like I listened to it as often as I can when I'm still awake, because a lot of times I'm still like I'm doing my upload and all that stuff, so I'll like pop it on. So some of them I've missed because I didn't get in before it got reported.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, Tropic Hat Life asks, is there a way of verifying if someone's monetized? I only know that you need to have at least 1,000 subscribers and you need 4,000 watch hours.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of us smaller creators who are pretty vocal and we're like, and I'm not making any money off of this, like, and it not being just like a joke, but like no, I'm not actually monetized. Because don't trust about, if I'm not getting ads or if I am getting ads, because YouTube puts ads on everything. Everyone's shit.
Yeah,
and that's why.
So.
Just a quick note, that's why like you'll have people come and do a copyright claim on music that they normally didn't, because those people will do this. They'll put a claim, but they won't do a strike. So what they do is do a claim so that any money that you earn, like it's their money. And they've done that specifically because they know that like your video has a lot of views. And when you are monetized, they're going to be the ones getting the money for that. So that is why I have one video specifically that is hidden, because somebody did that to me. I was like, oh, no, you're not about to make money off of this. Fuck you. Like, it's not going to happen. Yeah. I went to YouTube and tried to get it changed and they didn't do anything. So I was like, that's cool. I'm just going to, and I privated the video.
Honestly, the only time I take the ads as a proof of anything is when the creator first gets monetized. Like, now they are eligible for monetization. Yeah. Because I saw an ad on their video. But after that, I'm like, I hope nothing happened to this video, because I don't want to be watching these super annoying ads, by the way, because the ads I get here are really bad. And then not get the money. Because that's why I play all these people promoting scams.
Well, and for Nusha asking, can you decide how many ads? There are some videos that have an ad every 5 minutes. So yes and no. It's like you can, but also you can't. They put in some new stuff for the ads. I've kind of played with it a little bit, but not enough to where I know.
You can set up mid-roll. So with mid-rolls, you can either set it to just automatically add, or you can set it for like, and you can set the timeline. I've heard some people say that even if you set it, you're not guaranteed to get ads placed there.
Yeah.
But you can also you can set if you want ads before the video, after the video. But again, when I say you can set it, I'm still not 100% sure how much control we truly have.
We don't. We really don't.
Setting these things.
Because if you had more control of that, the video wouldn't cut to an ad in an awkward place, for example. Like,
Yeah, because like for instance,
Well,
if like you're a creator
lot
and
of
you have
work to
YouTube Premium or
figure it
YouTube Red, whatever they're calling it, you don't
Yeah.
necessarily get to see the ad, so you don't know what it looks like. That's why we'll ask you guys
Yeah.
because I don't know because I've my subscription, and I agree with UT. Frankly, it's 100% unethical for them to run ads without sharing profits. I
Yeah.
agree.
yeah,
I'm fully on the board that yes, YouTube should get a cut because they're providing the platform. But I will say this a million and one times. I think that their cut should also change depending on the size of the channel. I don't think that a
agreed.
small channel, not just because I am one, but because I realize like, okay, so imagine someone just gets monetized. They have, 1,100 subscribers, and YouTube won't cut a check until you get $100. You have to have $100 for them to cut a check. That's the minimum.
Yeah.
So the problem is, even if you got to exactly $100, they're taking 30%, so it's only $70. So they're still not cutting you a check. So for you to have a small channel and for them to be taking 30% of the profits from a very small channel doesn't make sense to me, but that's just my business. Hi.
Oh no,
Hi,
I completely
baby.
agree. If they were doing it like 20, even 20, 15 to 20%, I'd be like, okay, I get that. But 30%, like, and I've said this before, I got monetized probably in January, which was 3/4 of a year, which is quick. I'm very grateful for that. But it was 3 months before I hit $100 and got a payout. And then it's been like, basically, I've made $300 off of AdSense in doing this for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Theoretically, that's how much money. And I know, Audra, you've been doing this for a much longer amount of time before you hit that time. But yeah, I just think it's completely unethical for them to run ads without sharing profits. Either don't put the ads on those unmonetized videos,
Thank you.
or it's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to figure out how to share the profits. It's like,
Yeah, 'cause
if
it's
you're a
weird to
smaller
me.
channel, like you said, you could have different levels. You just start out, you haven't met our initial goal. Maybe you get a very small cut, and then you hit a goal, and then they kind of bump you up, and they're like, okay, now we take this much, and then it like increases kind of as you get more subscribers. So yeah, and Miss Davis says there's certain channels that YouTube deems controversial or doesn't agree with mainstream narratives are demonetized, yet ads still run. Here's the thing too, is that they're not telling you why you're demonetized.
Correct.
They're not telling you. So like somebody like Teresa, she gets demonetized. Somebody like, even some of our live chats get demonetized because of certain topics. But they don't say.
I'm sorry.
But they don't say things like, you used this word in the title, it's why we demonetized you, or you talked about this, which is why they demonetized you. They don't tell you anything.
Because then you make assumptions about maybe this is what happened. You have to keep guessing, and guesses are wrong, and that's a problem for the creator because they don't know where to go, what to do.
Yeah.
I remember Teresa in one of her lives saying like she changed her intro a bunch of times. She kept getting demonetized. She eliminated the swear words. She kept getting demonetized, and it would be easier if they explained.
Yeah,
but they
and
don't
here's the
want
other
you to
thing
get that
too
money.
is like, even when it comes to the amount of ads, like a lot of creators are not going to be particularly interested in changing that because that's how they get their revenue stream. So very few creators are going to be like excited about moving and being like, oh, let me just remove the mid-roll ad because like the mid-roll ad makes the difference. Honestly, until you really start getting up there, like the smaller your channel is, the more that you're just like, run all the fucking ads, like just run all of them. And yes, I think it was Nusha was asking, I'm not sure, but like, yes, even if you have YouTube Red, you're still getting paid for that.
Oh yeah, YouTube Premium. I think it's even a little better. I don't have actual proof, but I think the payout
I remember.
I'm happy with it because it's more dependable too.
Yeah.
Because even if your money gets demonetized, you get YouTube Premium money.
I remember on the Half Cousins, they said like it's better for us if you have YouTube Premium.
It is, because you don't have to rely on ads anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to rely on clicks and all. Like, it's just somebody's watching your video, so you're getting paid for somebody watching your video.
Another reason I want someone to hire me so I can get YouTube Premium.
So Teresa is monetized.
Favorite people.
Come here, baby.
And I think she's just. It just depends on what she's talking about. I think here's the thing: is it could be anything. You could say I use the word "fuck" as a comma, you get demonetized. You could use the word "drunk" in your title, you get demonetized.
Yeah.
Like there's a ridiculously long list of like words that people have gotten demonetized for just being in the title.
And it would be easier if they explained, because that way the creator could appeal to the decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't want to explain.
They don't want you to appeal. They want to be like, oh, we were right. We're not going to tell you why we're right, but we were right in your video.
Yeah, Miss Davis put it, I think, very well. They're very vague, so it's easy to gaslight creators. So one week it's, well, okay, I was using this phrase and I was getting demonetized, so I stopped using this phrase. Now they can be like, oh, well, yeah, then you're like, well, now I'm still getting demonetized and I'm not using this phrase. Okay, so then maybe I'm going to not use this phrase too, or not do this thing. And then you might go back and use, like I'm using Teresa as the example, you might go back and use fuck as a comma and get monetized. And so you're like, okay, for 4 months, if any video I use fuck as a comma in the intro, I was demonetized.
The podcast episode from Teresa and Alex's podcast, where they were talking about YouTube drama, and they talked about demonetization touches on that as well, and it's weird and no one understands. They make it complicated to make it complicated.
Yes, they can make it easy. Business. They just choose not to.
They want to make all the money off of the labor of their creators.
It's one of many examples of this solution could be so easy, you just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, guys, I'm going to retire this evening because I am exhausted. I've reached my level of exhaustion for the evening because I'm old. And I still have to record taking off this face.
Yeah, but
you're gonna record that? Oh goodness.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at the time, and we've been here for a while.
It's amazing. I love these conversations. And as we said earlier, you are welcome back anytime, Fefy. And I'm going to say it again. Anyone that's in the audience that has ideas for 5 for 5, whether they have ideas for us to do or they feel like they have thoughts or opinions about a topic that you would like to talk to us about, we have an email address. Do I have that up here? You can email us at 5for5live@gmail.com. Don't be shy. We'll be honest. We'll figure out what works.
Yeah, I was super awkward, but
no, you were not.
I mean, when I asked, I was like, "Am I intruding?" I feel kind of weird.
No, not at all.
No, it was perfect. This movie.
And
I'm so sorry. There's like a dragon. There's Gerard Butler. There's Matthew McConaughey. I am very confused. There's Christian fucking Bale.
Notes so we can talk about it in the next time I'm here.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't forget to like the stream.
Yes, please.
Share it with people. Follow Fefy on Instagram and Twitter. All of her details are in the description box. And thank y'all for being amazing. Clicking the button now. Bye.